Welcome to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world according to former WWE and ECW wrestler, the Blue Meanie. We'll cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I'm Josh Shernoff, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie, what's up, man?
I am doing splendid here. I've lost count on what day of the apocalypse it is. But
yeah,
doing good.
I don't even know what year it is at this point.
No, and it's just like I'm going. Oh yeah, you know, it's May. It's May. This thing started in February. Now we're in May. Halfway.
Yeah, it's like what day is it today? I don't know. June.
Yeah.
Like
right. Yeah, I had to bust out my abacus and try to figure out what fucking day it was. But
I saw. Did you post that online? The ABBA and Kiss.
Yeah.
Is that you?
It's
okay.
That's been my thought in my. That's been in my head. So it's just like abacus.
I was going to say not to say that you couldn't, break out those $10 words at any time.
You got to put them to use somehow. So
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck? What are you gonna do? So start off the podcast. Let me get a sip of my coffee real quick. Let's sip of coffee to the apocalypse. Hold on.
Ooh, there.
Mrs. Meanie with Meanie with the ew.
It sounds good. I'm sure it tastes good.
Yeah.
I had my third cup of coffee already today, so I just have my empty mugs and my
so it's just for show.
Sparkling black cherry vanilla seltzer.
Oh, you're a seltzer man too. I got the tangerine over here.
I've got this. Yeah, you see that? We're showing each other. For those listening right now, we're showing each other our cans.
All of a sudden, we're NPR over here, just fucking PBS in it.
So it's right. I did I tried the keto diet at one point.
Sorry.
So am I. But the one thing that stuck from it, I was a big soda person, and then I became a big Coke Zero and all that stuff. And when I was trying to be a little healthier, but you weren't even supposed to do that on the diet. So I started drinking seltzer, and prior to that just hated seltzer. But when you're on a diet that you're like that became my dessert, just to have a flavored seltzer. And now the thought of going back to a Coke Zero or diet soda thing I have no interest in it. I'm just so used to. It's nice because it's refreshing, and I can never remember to drink as much water in a day as I'm supposed to. So now with this, I feel like I'm having a snack, and I'm really, so folks at home, get your seltzer.
Well,
your favorite seltzer.
The deal here is I used to be a soda guy, and then I kind of disgustingly addicted to soda back in the day. Early ECW, I would be chugging a 2 liter a day, and it's just
oh geez,
Jesus Christ, man, what's wrong with me? And then just look at yourself and just want to punch yourself in the mirror. But I got off of that, and then coffee became my vice. And then if you live in South Philly, you got your large coffee, double cream, extra cream, extra sugars, and that was disgusting for a while there. And then I started getting on the health kick, and water became my thing. I just became accustomed to carrying around a gallon jug.
Yeah.
And when I was training with dieting with Headbanger Masha's brother, John Warrington, who I lost 160 pounds. He got me on the just carrying around the jug of water thing, and I was doing the distilled water thing. Oh. But
why the distilled water?
It's supposed to be more purified, whatever. I don't know. I bought it. I bought in, and I lost 160 pounds. So I was like, this can't be wrong.
Yeah, right.
So long story short, or short story long, I would still drink a soda here and there, but when it comes to soda, I realize I'm just addicted to the fizz. I need this a fizzy,
the carbonation of
it. Yes. So Mrs. Meanie, got us onto the kick of getting, seltzers and trying some flavored seltzers. And I prefer that to soda any day. It's that's my thing now.
It's a little early for this.
A little early for the run, and but here we go.
Okay, we actually got really lucky because we started doing seltzer, and then maybe a year or so after, we got hit with the Philly beverage tax. So, and it's not, they call it a soda tax, but it's like if we're going to get, sweetened almond milk or juice.
Really?
Like, if it's got sugar, if it's sweetened, it's got a tax, and it's a lot of money. So, when they introduced that tax, a lot of people jumped ship and started drinking the seltzer, which just meant we got more, flavors and variations, and there's seltzer everywhere now. But we started drinking seltzer, there was only a couple good flavors, and like now there's a ton, and it's amazing.
Oh yeah, like I'll go down the aisle
for giving us delicious seltzers.
Yeah, like I'll go down the aisle at the grocery store, and it is just like I was saying. What did I say this one was? Black cherry vanilla. This is the first time I've ever had this because I'm just like, look, I'm like, I got to try something. There's like, pomegranate.
You can look
at the camera.
No, I peeked to see if I could see it.
Oh, she's here. Tell her.
Come here.
Here it is. I'm trying to see if I could see it.
Maybe
this makes for some great podcasting.
Yeah, man. This is like a SNL skit where we're just talking about
everybody's listening. Everyone's
balls.
sitting in everyone's sitting in their car or they're sitting at home, wherever it is they're doing this, and they're just like, all right, guys, all right, it's enough. Stop showing each other. Yourself.
They're reaching for the fucking button right now. No, but seriously, if you know what, I don't miss soda. So if you're trying to get off soda, little pro tip, get yourself some flavored. And like Mrs. Meanie said, we're getting like now with the Philly fucking tax, we're getting like all these different cool flavors. Might not have tried otherwise. And normally I don't know what my abhorrent is to orange, like flavoring. I'm like, ugh. But I like oranges. I like eating oranges. I like orange juice.
But I mean, the flavoring's kind of different than
like, I don't know what it is. I get hot about orange. I get like hot. Like, I'm like, why? I argue with
hot about it.
Yeah, I argue about
myself. I mean, I think you should just forgive yourself for that.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a good use of your time to get that angry about it. But no, I understand what you're saying, because like grapes, for instance, I love to eat grapes. But a grape flavored something is not the same taste as eating a grape.
Right.
It's just, it's different. So, man, I'm thinking about our pod squad right now, and they're just like, man, this is money right here.
They're like, fuck.
This is what if the quarantine would end and we could just do a live show of Josh and the Meanie sitting there talking about seltzer, talking about disdain for certain flavors versus others. Man,
they're just gigging themselves at home listening to this podcast. Like, will you just fucking end this? One more fucking reference, and I'm getting the blade.
Yeah,
I'm gigging my forehead.
Just talk about ECW. Damn it!
They're running headfirst into a fucking door right now. Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh my god!
But on a serious matter, let me get shit. I had notes, and then my phone went to sleep. What the fuck? Not like I should need to know to give a shout out to our boy RJ City. The other, dude, big fan of RJ City. And the other night he was doing a tribute to B. Arthur. Now we're getting on another fucking NPR fucking PBS rant, but B. Arthur.
Also not the first time that we've mentioned the Golden Girls on our show.
Dude, me and Mrs. Meanie have been bitching to Golden Girls, and it's awesome. Some of the shit you could say on like the references and inferences and whatever.
Oh, it's a different time.
Yeah. Dude,
different time.
This is such fucking good stuff, man. Good shit, pal. But yeah, RJ was like once a week he does like RJ City After Dark, and then on Sundays if I'm up, I like to watch RJ City drinks coffee in his underwear or whatever. And but he'll do like a live stream, and I'll hop in on this chat, and I'll try to pop him while he's in the room or whatever. I'll throw out like a little reference to try to throw him off his game. And to his credit, he doesn't, I mean, I almost popped him because he put out that he signed with AWA. With the AWA.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's brilliant. He's so funny, man. Like his Twitter feed's my favorite. And I said, he was doing the After Dark show. I was like, dude, you should get like a potted plant and put it behind you and call it Fern Gagne. And he almost popped. Yes. I almost got him. So, and then, a few other guys ran in, and Matt Taven ran in, and Dalton Castle ran in. And it was like we were a bunch of guys sitting on the Carson couch, just, cracking jokes in the chat room there. But, shout out to RJ. He plugged the podcast on his, After Dark show. And like I said, we have no fear about talking about other shows because, we're comfortable with our content. We like our content, and it should be like that. It should be a community. Yeah. Like, I wish wrestling was sometimes. It is a community. But...
Yeah, we have this crazy idea that if everyone could entertain, everyone could be entertained, everyone could enjoy doing what they're doing, and we could all get along. It's this crazy idea that maybe one day could take off, but it's support other people. Why not?
Yeah, it's like the one thing I
mean, don't leave us.
No.
So, support us first, right, and then go support other people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, none of us can. We all can't be Conrad because he's the king. All hail Conrad. But there's this thing in wrestling that drives me absolutely nuts. I don't know if it's still prevalent now, but when I first started, if two promoters are in the same city, they say, well, if you work for me, you can't work for the other guy. It's like, well, are you going to pay me not to work for the other guy?
Yeah.
Because and everybody wants in the indies, everybody wants to be or wanted to be, Vince. Oh, you can only work exclusively for me. Not realizing if these two promoters would put their resources together, they could run like a super indie and just
like a really good show
and run multiple times a month, and everybody could benefit. Everybody, but so
I think it's this way across all different types of business, as in general, and it's people just can't get out from in front of themselves,
yeah, but thank God for how cool the podcasting community is, because I announced that when I announced that we were doing this podcast, I got like a lot of offers of people saying, hey, come on my podcast and promote yours.
Yeah,
which is, I mean, you wouldn't hear that in wrestling. Come on my indie show and promote your indie show, or whatever.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's like we had talked about, we've had sponsors in the past that were podcasts.
Yeah.
Because just why not? I mean, we happen to just not have a format of having people on the show to plug things and everything. And that's, really the only reason why we wouldn't have somebody on is just because it's not the format of our show. But yeah, I think just keep lifting other people up. There's no reason to just try and keep somebody else down. It doesn't make you any better. Doesn't make our show better to try and get you to not listen to someone else. So
right. We're just here focused on not knowing what we're going to talk about until we hit record.
Not a damn clue. Although I have an idea.
Shoot.
Because today, as everybody is listening to this, it is, you're listening to this on a Monday. Monday, I'm going to say 18th. And is that correct? Monday the 18th?
Let me look at my abacus.
Yeah. Well, you should absolutely know.
Don't fact check me on abacus, but
you should absolutely know. Yes, it is Monday the 18th. And you should know that because May 18th is a very special day here at the Mind of the Meanie. It's the day that the mind was first brought into this world. So happy birthday to the Blue Meanie.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? It's the first time we were actually topically relevant on the day we were released, at least.
Yeah.
Because
it wasn't like our first show, like the anniversary of Barely Legal, and we didn't touch base on it or even mention it at all.
We no-sold that shit, man. We no-sold that shit. But thank you, man. Yeah, if you're listening to this on a Monday, it is indeed my 40th birthday, and I'm 47. 47, and physically 47, mentally 13.
Hey, if after a multi-decade wrestling career, you can physically feel your age, that's a pretty good thing.
Oh, dude, right? I kind of feel it physically.
Oh, no, I mean the fact that you're not like, hey, I'm 47. I have the mind of a 12-year-old and I have the body of an 80-year-old, you know?
Oh, yeah. No, this is like, seriously, though, it's just, and we talked about this before where, like, you know, the year 2000 seems like 10 years ago instead of 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's like that weird, it's like a weird time jump, you know? I don't get it. But, you know, I'm 47 and I still feel, no, hold on. Mrs. Meanie's going to revolt and run out the door.
You pulled the wool over her eyes. I broke
kayfabe and she found out my real fucking age over here. She's going to fucking run back to Connecticut, but wear a mask. No, seriously, I honestly don't feel it mentally. I'm not get off my lawn yet, or, you know, back in my day, you know. I guess the closest I get to back in my day is me just talking about my career when I first started. But other than that, it's like, I can relate. I'm hip. I'm cool. I'm cool, Scott.
You're in the groove.
Yeah.
No, anytime that I've ever felt old is like, we've talked about it in the past, like when I would do the show at the community college and there's like 19-year-olds and I'm talking about something from 20 years ago. And I'm like looking at the people operating the camera and going, yep, you weren't even born yet. It's times like that I'll feel old.
Right.
But the rest of it for me, like the rest of the time, I still, like, I get together with the guys and stuff and we'll talk, and like, it could have been 20 years ago. We're not sitting here like, you know, I'm Mr. Maturity now.
No,
you know, that's never going to happen. So yeah, it's good. That's the way how you should be, you know, get mentally old. I feel like that's even worse than getting physically old, you know?
There was a pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, and, you know, I'm a big fan of the 93 Phillies, and I was watching the yearbook video for the 93 team, and Larry Anderson, the pitcher for the Phillies, said, you're young once but immature forever. So that's I heard that back in 93, 94, and I was like, you know what, that's a good way to take it. You know, if you're not laughing at least, you know, a couple times a day, you're really not living. So,
and I always try to look at it as like, so like right now I can sit here at 36 and I can go,
you're so mean.
There you go. I sit here at a young 36 and looking at my dark hair and just, what were we talking about?
Son of a bitch.
But in all seriousness, I can look at this and I think back to being in my 20s, and I'll look back and I was so, oh man, if I could go back to 26, I was so, you know, so young. Well, then when you're 46, you're going to look at 36 and, oh man, I was so young. When you're 56, you're going to look at 46 and go, oh, I was so young. So the way that I try to look at it is like, remember that, like, right now, whatever age I am currently, whatever time I'm in my life, this is a time that at some point in the future, I'm going to go, oh man, if I could only go back to that time.
Right.
So it's like, dude, you're in that time you wish you could go back to, just enjoy it. Exactly. Like right now, like you're turning 47 years old, and it's a good thing you don't feel old, because you're not, because all kidding aside, we like to, you know, but it's your birthday, so I'll be nice. All kidding aside, you know, you're not old. But even if there was a day where you go, oh man, you know, I'm not 27, right? You're definitely going to feel older than 27, but there's going to be that time when you're 67 where you're going to go, man, I'd give anything to be 47.
Right.
So,
right.
That's my like life lesson to those, you know, listening to this is like, man, just enjoy where you are now, because this is going to be the time that you're looking back to one day going, man, I wish I was there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. Just, and you know, you like you said, talking to younger people, maybe, yeah, I'm friendly with a lot of younger people, so that probably keeps me younger, you know, especially, you know, you do these shows when we were allowed to do shows, and you're on shows with a lot of younger guys, and, you know, talking, and, you know, you get the the guys who ask questions and want to ask hey professional advice or life advice and stuff like that. And I can relate to what a lot of people go through and stuff like that because I've been there.
I also think that I've always felt this way. Sports and the wrestling business, just focus on the wrestling business, that has it skews your view of what's old and what's young. Because if you're looking in like the corporate world, right? And somebody's like corporate career climbing that ladder or whatever, 47, for instance, somebody would look at that and be like, oh yeah, just, another 5-10 years and they're going to really get to get to that peak in their career. But in wrestling, you're like, oh man, they're 36. Uh-oh. Time, their best years are behind them now. They're an old timer. And then also there's the fact that you can pay your dues and get to a high level in pro wrestling very quickly at times. Mm-hmm. So you are a guy who maybe you're in your 30s or your 40s, but you've got decades of experience at the highest level. Like we were talking about last week when you did the Monday Night Raw in the Manhattan Center,
right?
Experiences like that and how young you were at that point in time is something that makes it now in this business, you're one of the, like you said, like, kids these days, but you're one of the old timers in the sense of experience. And it's a weird thing in this industry as opposed to other career paths in other industries.
I wish, like, I often fantasize about time travel. Just like,
oh, me too. I'm such a time travel nerd.
If I could go back and just tell my younger self, different things and stuff like that, I have no regrets, but there's definitely times where I'll scream, "Son of a bitch!" I could have done. There's so many things I've goofed on. I won't say made mistakes, but I certainly goofed a couple times here and there where it's like. And then I see guys walk around, who don't acknowledge, there's people who claim that they're superstars, and that's. I don't want to get off on a rant here, but it's just like you're like, dude.
That's what everyone wants to hear.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, dude. There's people who have never left their fucking block, but they go out there and I'm a legend, and it's like, really? But
so it's funny. Somebody had asked me advice. Not to cut you off.
No. Go ahead.
But someone had asked me, like, someone who's getting into the business. I think they've been in it for like, a year or so. And I was announcing it at one of the shows and they were like asking me, different advice. And the first thing I always preface was like, take my advice with the smallest grain of salt possible. I said, because you're not looking at me and I'm going to tell you about how I got to main event WrestleMania, but I can look back at some things. And the one bit of advice that I always give was when I was in OVW, I separated my shoulder in one of our house shows. And my mindset instantly became, how quickly can I get back? And I look back at it now, and if I could do it over again, the first thing I would have done is I would have walked, whether it was to Danny Davis or to Al Snow or to anyone who was there, and said, hey, so I'm injured. The doctor said not to start working out for at least a month. Can I maybe do like a backstage interview? Can I maybe sit in on like a creative thing? Can I maybe do like guest commentary on a match? Can I can I shadow you on editing in the back? And can I take this opportunity, since I can't wrestle, to learn any and everything else in this business? And I look at that and I think about that month that I rushed myself back anyway, but I looked at that month and I said, like, who knows what I could have been doing? I could have been managing. I'm not a particularly big guy. Could have easily fit in as a manager, as a mouthpiece for somebody. There were so many things I could have done, but I had such tunnel vision on, I want to be a pro wrestler. And I look at it now, all these years later, that I've been so fortunate to have this opportunity to do what I do now, where I just talk and that, and sometimes a lot. But I wish that I had been smart enough to look at that and say, there are so many other aspects of pro wrestling. It's just like what you've said in the past, where when you were down in Memphis,
where was it?
down in Memphis,
and I'm
saying you should have been doing.
I still kick myself because I had back then I had the thought, but I didn't execute the thought of like, hey man, I'm down here. I'm trying to do it. I lost all this weight. I really don't look like the Blue Meanie anymore. What if I got into like behind the scenes? What if I got into broadcasting? What are they, and maybe take a right instead of a left. Maybe that's where my
look. I'll speak only for myself, and I would love to hear your opinion on it. But for me, I think a lot of it was to try and, if you grow up and all you want to be is a professional wrestler, it felt like to shift to any other aspect of the business was failing. It felt like not even failing, giving up. It felt like inside, like, oh, I got hurt. Now I'm going to go be an announcer. Like, no, like if you know what I mean? But now I can look back and go, there's a hell of a lot more longevity in being an announcer than there is. Look at Taz.
Yeah. He's a prime example of,
Jerry Lawler is another one,
Absolutely. I mean, they're both, prime examples of, what to do after your, well, Taz, I mean, his career was cut short by injuries, but he's got the gift of gab, and Jerry Lawler amazingly still does shots here and there. he's like the Dick Clark of wrestling. He still looks young and he's still performing.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, he's only died one time from wrestling at this age. So
exactly.
Why not keep going? If you've only died once,
right?
You can't give up. Come on,
you can't tap out now. I mean,
no. Hey, I mean. Hey, but think about that. That's something I've always thought with Jerry Lawler. Like, people have looked at it different ways, but man, had he not been exactly where he was, had that been a couple hours later and he was in the hotel room,
right?
I mean, man, that's not to turn this in that direction, but I just always think about that and like, right place, right time.
Wrestling has literally saved his life. It gave him a beautiful life, and it saved his life. So but you just never know where to. And then the most important thing is, it goes to the point where to get into wrestling, but you should want to get into wrestling because you absolutely love wrestling. So if you get into the wrestling business and you're doing good, but you're getting telltale signs of like, hey, this might not be the thing for me. There's always other avenues,
Yep.
That's why when you should get into this business, you should always learn every little detail from, setting up the ring to setting up chairs to setting up equipment, setting up the sound, setting up lights, whatever it takes.
Not only is it a backup, but you make yourself that much more valuable.
Oh
that you can be plugged in anywhere.
Make yourself unreplaceable. And and you'll always have some kind of job in this business. And everybody in this business is important, from the Vince McMahons to the people who tear the tickets, to the people who make the popcorn, and the people who wrestle in the ring, and the referees and all that good stuff. Everybody is important because it takes a village to run an event and to make an event, and to have fans and stuff like that. There would be two guys wrestling in front of no one if it wasn't for all these people.
And that happens in plenty of independent promotions and stuff, but
people take that Field of Dreams reference, book it, and they will come. Just like you'll set up a ring, and people just automatically know, hey man, I feel there's going to be a wrestling show near me, and
sense of wrestling.
I once had a promoter I was working for, and he said, "Yeah, man, I tried this new advertising strategy where I advertised that the show was sold out." And I was like, "Really?" And then it proved to not work because the house was awful. I was like, "I'll take my pay now before you open the doors."
And I told them it's sold out, so we're expecting to get hundreds of people to show up just hoping one ticket
I wish
was available.
I wish I was making this up, but it was like the God's honest truth. And I'm standing there like, I'll take my pay now. You know, just
well, it is like, yeah, because it's like he's taking this vision of like the tickets are moving fast, get them now, you know, which might not be true, but that's a tried and true tactic.
Yeah.
But to go, oh, all the tickets are sold out. It's like, all right, well,
good luck.
I'm not gonna go. Yeah. Like, what do you?
I'll make alternative plans.
Yep.
Oh man.
That's funny. Hey, so we talked about it being your birthday.
Oh yeah, that thing.
All that. And you know, so I thought for myself, on behalf of the Pod Squad members, you know, that I would formally wish you a happy birthday. But
yes,
I'm not the only person you know in this business, and there was somebody else that wanted to wish you a happy birthday. And they sent in this message.
Okay.
So I'm gonna play that for you right now, if you don't mind.
Oh geez.
Hey Meanie, it's Al.
And Jessica.
We want to wish you a very happy birthday. Yes. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Now go and poop your pants.
We love you and miss you guys. We hope to see you soon. Happy birthday.
Love you, kid. That's awesome. My big brother, Al, and Jessica. Well, she's my big sis, but you know, dude, thank you so much. That's awesome.
People just want to come out and wish you a happy birthday, man.
Dude, that is so thoughtful. That's so cool. I'm kind of taken aback right now.
Oh, well,
getting a little however fucking Mike Myers
clamped.
Yeah, that's what happened.
If that did it.
The mouth of the meanie is failing the mind of the meanie. No, really though. That's awesome. That's so cool.
Hey, you know, it was great of Al and Jessica to want to do that. There was one more person who really did want to wish you a happy birthday.
All righty. Right now. Oh my God, here we go.
Happy birthday to Blue. Happy birthday to Blue. Happy birthday, Blue Meanie. Happy birthday to you and well, it is I, the lyrical miracle, the sexual intellectual, the cunning linguist, and the quintessential stud muffin, Joel. Pardon me for working blue, but happy birthday to you. And the only thing sexier than me and my weenie is a birthday suit wearing Blue Meanie. Gertner. Keep having birthdays year after year after year after year. I love you, brother. You are the man.
I love you too, Joel, man. That's awesome. I love you, Joel. I love Al. Are there no other surprises?
No more surprises.
I love Jessica. I love Al. I love Joel. Thank you oh my God, so much. Again, you know you like somebody when you can spend 16 hours in the car with them. And the one time me and Joel and Mrs. Meanie drove out to Starcast in Chicago, we drove out there and back. We like Joel so much we brought him back home. But Joel's one of the good guys in this fucking business, man. I don't know why anybody, like, he should be on AEW right now. He should be in NWA right now doing something. Dude, thank you so much.
And I want to thank those guys for, you know, when I said, hey, you guys have like a message, they couldn't have done it quicker and be more excited to have an opportunity to do that. So yeah, I mean, they're, you know, great guys. Joel, I do want to say, and, you know, and he did not ask for this, but I do want to say that he has a podcast. We talk about plugging other people's podcasts.
Oh my God, please. Yes.
The 69-minute Eargasm podcast. So if you enjoyed a little bit of that happy birthday message from Joel Gertner, Joel is, when I got to, I had him on my show at one point, and he and I were both booked a couple of weeks later to do to do commentary together. It was the first time I ever really like worked with him.
Right.
And I told him, I said, if you had told me from like 20 years ago, the like huge ECW fan who was definitely repeating Gertnerisms at school as though they were my own, we ended up doing the show on my birthday. And I told him, I said, had someone come to me and been like, hey, your birthday present is you'll get to work with Joel Gertner, it would have exploded my mind. I told him, I said, and then all these years later I got to, and through that I've been, lucky enough to become friends with him. And, but he is a great guy. Definitely check out his podcast. But yeah, these guys, my Rolodex is not as big as yours. But, but I am positive that anyone else I would have reached out to, would have been just as happy. And this is about the most sentimental we're going to get on this show right now. So that's enough. But no, man, everyone who's ever worked with you has nothing but awesome things to say about you. And yeah, so happy birthday, and happy birthday from the Pod Squad.
Thank you so much. You having Al on my birthday just jarred a memory from when, because like we're talking about like what's today? I don't know, right? Mm-hmm. So I moved out to Al's to train. I moved out there when I was 20, and like March of '94, and we're training one day, and I'm just sitting there, go, oh shit, today's my birthday. It was May 18th, 1994, and I'm in Al Snow's gym. I went, shit, I'm 21 now. And like, it didn't even, I was so in the thick of in the fog of whatever I was doing that I totally lost track of my own birthday. Just like,
birthday again.
What's that, hon?
Old school. Frank, you forgot your birthday again.
But yeah, just you, dude, and Al's been my big brother. His family treated me like I was one of their own. I say this every year. I do the post because I drove out to Al's the day after WrestleMania 10. That's how I remember things, by wrestling. If I can't think of a date, I'll Google the event and I go, oh, it was that date, So the day I drove to Al's to train with him was the day after WrestleMania 10. And, I met him and we hit it off instantly. And, I was out there for like Easter. His family would make me an Easter basket and just, had me over for dinner, stuff like that. Like 4th of July, me, him, and his parents and family went out to the park to watch fireworks. So Al is like my big brother, and and one of the smartest people I know. And speaking of one of the smartest people I know, Joel Gertner, another guy. Like we've had some conversations where like, man, I didn't even think of that perspective on things. Like he genuinely makes me, besides the fact that he's legit like a human calculator. Like we would sit around in the ECW locker room and like call out math equations, and he would do them in his head, and we'd do it on the calculator, and goddamn, he'd be right. So he's definitely smart, man. He's like deep smart. Like he'll say things, and you're like, man, I didn't even see that coming. And and he'd be like funny and inquisitive all at the same time, man.
He was somebody that it was really a pleasure to get to know him as like the human being, having been a fan of his for so long. And just to actually like because I mean, he's a guy with a huge personality that is very different than what you would have expected just from knowing his character. But can't say enough great things about both of those guys, which I think is why you and I were able to hit it off, because I'm a big fan of so many of the people that you're friends with and big fans of, and as people.
And we both trained with Al.
Yeah. I mean, you trained with, so, we always say, to clarify for some people, I originally, someone had asked me at one point, because at one point I mentioned the Wild Samoan Training Center, and another point I mentioned OVW and all this stuff. I was actually lucky enough to train with a bunch of different people. I first trained at the Wild Samoan Training Center And then years later, I went and I trained only for a few weeks with down in OVW with Joey Mercury. And then I trained with Nick Dinsmore, and I trained with who else did I train with down there? I mean, they always had people like Rob Conway would pop it, random people. Rip Rogers, I trained with down there. But Al, I maybe once or twice or something in the ring, but really with Al was sitting with him during all the house shows. That was what I always considered, because it was just me and Al sitting next to each other, and he would just the entire show just dissect everything that was going on. And not to take anything away from all the other people that I worked with, they taught me how to work safe, how to take my bumps, how to run the ropes, how to chain wrestle, whatever it was I was learning. But I always say I was trained by Al Snow, because any knowledge I have of really why to do something, other guys may have taught me how to do it or how to take it, but Al taught me why I'm doing it, why I shouldn't do this, and when to do it. And so that was just to clarify, because I actually have had a couple of people ask, like, wait, I thought you trained with Al, and you mentioned the other time about the Wild Samoan. So that was the
right.
With Al, I really got, and to me, that was the best training I ever got, was those months of just being able to sit with him and learn from him.
Well, that's the thing. Any true professional, I mean, there's somebody who breaks you in, but I broke in with Al, but Al would have me do matches with, Al had a tag partner at the time, Denny Cass, who was a world-class amateur wrestler. He would have me, if like I was working like a Dan Severn show, Dan Severn would run these spot shows, and he would always use Al's students. And like one show I'm wrestling Denny Cass, and he's teaching me as I'm working with him. And then after the match, he'd pull me aside. Okay, this is what you need to work on. This is this and that, which is awesome. And then I was like, I think you're good enough to leave the nest and go off on your own. I would find different schools to go roll around at, here and there. And then when I, get to WWE, they're like, hey, we're doing this dojo with Dory Funk, the Funkin' Dojo. The mouth of the meanie's not working. But I would get in there, and I had like this awesome class. Kurt Angle was in it. Steve Bradley, who was phenomenal. Nobody sings his praises enough, but we're all training with Dory Funk and Tom Pritchard.
Yeah.
And then, Bruce Pritchard would come in and would oversee it. And we would do like promo classes with Bruce Pritchard. And then that's another level, it's just like, Al Snow was, my start.
Yeah.
And then Dory Funk, Tom Pritchard, Bruce Pritchard. And then when I'm in WWE, I totally leapfrogged ECW, that locker room. I'm doing promo classes with Paul Heyman. I'm there with, Dreamer, Taz, Terry Funk, Tracy Smothers. I learned from every night was, and I'm in the ring. I'm wrestling with him, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
And then, Tommy Rich is at ringside. Excuse me. Just all these different people I got to work with, working with One Man Gang. I'm certainly blessed.
Yeah, the worst thing in the wrestling business would be if you, even at this point, if you had an opportunity, because there's always going to be someone out there who knows something, even if they're not better than you. Like if you were holding up your entire body of work, there's always going to be someone who's going to be able to say, "Hey, you ever do this before? Or you ever think of it this way?" And man, if you can, we're talking about advice. And again, I always feel so uncomfortable for me to give any advice. But I mean, I would always just think like, be a sponge to anyone, no matter what state you are in your career. And look at the people you'll see now in AEW. And, I've seen people in AEW when we've been backstage who you'd watch them on television and go, oh man, they're awesome. But you know what they're doing backstage? They're talking to Jericho. They're talking to Dustin Rhodes.
Right.
They're talking to Arn Anderson, who's there. Dean Malenko.
Yeah, if they're smart, they're doing it. Yeah.
And these aren't people, and I'm not just talking, not to say like a Sammy Guevara isn't, because he absolutely is. But there are people who you'd look at and go, okay, well, I'd expect Sammy Guevara, but this guy's far more established. Well, no, man, they're still talking to the guys who have more experience or different experience.
I can't tell you how much I'm sorry to cut you off there.
No, I was just gonna say that's the way you need to be.
Yeah. Dude, I can't tell you how much I learned strictly from listening to Raven put a match together. That's another guy. That guy should be down at the Performance Center teaching promo classes, teaching psychology. And I wouldn't be, there's a good 2 years where, I didn't have a match in ECW, but I was running interference for Raven or Stevie and all this stuff. And then just to hear Raven come up with a thought, and then like in the same breath, he would shoot down his own thought, but like, nah, that wouldn't be good there because of this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's so smart that he can actually look at himself and go, no, that's not this. My idea is better than my idea.
Right. Right. And and it's always less is more, but like it would make like just to watch him set up, I guess in acting they would they call it hitting your marks. This scene I'll hit my mark there, this bat, or if you got to take a pause, they say taking a beat, take 2 beats on this and then do that. But like Raven would set up a match where he'd be like, I'll do this, 1, 2, slide in, and then boom. He was all about timing, and that's where I got a lot of timing. I learned a lot about psychology, learned a lot about promos, and just life lessons in general too. Just riding in the car, there's nothing worse that you're young in the business and you're driving a car with veterans, and sometimes you feel like you should be saying something.
Yeah.
With Raven, I learned that sometimes you don't have to talk. Some of the best things is just sitting there, and I learned so much riding with Al Snow and Raven, and just talking about the business. To get back to Al, I learned more. I mean, he taught me a lot in the ring, but I learned so much on those car rides. And some of those car rides were like, I wish Tough Enough was around back then. And I joke, I wish it would have had to been on HBO because some of the goofy shit we did for shoot. And, but I learned so much to the point where, when I went to ECW, I kind of had like I had like a built-in cheat sheet in my brain when it came to, keeping my mouth shut, ears open, ask questions, but, or have suggestions, but, present your suggestions in the form of a question, because, that's the mistake. A lot of people go, oh, well, I want to do this. But, if you go, what if we did this? Or
if we did this, would that be totally stupid? Yeah.
What do you think about? And then ...
Yep.
What do you think about? And if they shoot it down, they shoot it down. But if they like it and it adds to their thought, the thing is always look to accentuate somebody else's idea, make it better. Yeah. If you're not comfortable with it, go, what do you think about your idea? And then this. They might either shoot it down or they might actually go, well, that's actually a good idea. Let's scrap what I'm going to do and we'll do that instead.
Right. And it's that's the improv, like the rule of improv, the yes and.
Yes.
Don't shoot it down because you don't know where it's going to go. And especially that's improv. Now you're talking about when you're talking through something prior to it happening, you have the opportunity to say yes and then someone to go, oh, that's cool. But then that wouldn't work because of the earlier thing. And then, let them decide what they want to do and change it up. But it's funny. You're talking about like with acting, with like taking a beat and things. I remember because I was I'm a trained comedic actor. We'll say that's the proper, whatever it means. I took classes. But when I was doing that, one of the things that they would always talk about was the intent of the scene. And I always looked at that towards wrestling because that to me is the difference between I'll give you an example. Like, I'm not going to like a guy who doesn't have it, but I'll take like a Randy Orton is someone who has the intent to me. When he comes to the ring, you always like look in his eyes and he's like he looks like he's there for a purpose. I know Al would always say like, you know, your purpose is to win. That's what you're there. Your purpose is to win. And then you add on top of that, the character layers of like a Randy Orton and whatever story he's in and what is his, whatever. But my point is it's that intent. And that's the difference between somebody that I think is a good professional wrestler and somebody who's playing pro wrestler.
Right.
Does that make any sense to you?
Right. Yeah. There's, how do I phrase this? There's people who have this preconceived notion of what wrestling is when they get in, and then maybe through training or whatever, they depends on their training, and they're like, well, this is it because, you know, I've watched shoot interviews or I've watched tapes and all this stuff. Right. And then there's people who actually broken in the right way. Like I thought I knew the wrestling business until my first day of training with Al, and I would go, well, isn't it like this? And he would just laugh at me. I'm like, okay. But what we're saying, the perception of wrestling.
Yeah. Well, just like the idea of like, you know, like I was using the term, the intent.
Intent.
Is that the what they would always say in acting is like the intent of a scene is like, what are your stakes? Like, what is your purpose? You're walking into a room. Well, why don't just walk into the room because the script says so-and-so walks into the room. Why are you walking into the room? Are you walking into the room because you have to confront someone? Are you walking into the room because you wanted to make yourself a sandwich? You know, like that maybe isn't even mentioned in the script, but the idea behind it was get that in your head. I'm coming into this room because I have an intent. Like a real person doesn't walk into a room in real life I mean, sometimes I've walked into a room and gone, the hell did I walk in here for? But you know what I mean? Like right. But otherwise, normal people, they walk in a room with a purpose. So if you had a script and it tells you, why are you walking in, you know, walks into the room, come up in your mind with what is my purpose? And that projects your intent to the viewers. And that I always thought applied to me, at least. I always thought that applied to pro wrestling. Your intent, what is your intent when you're coming to the ring? And I remember specifically Al Snow always saying, your intention is to win. You're coming into a match to win a wrestling match and then build from there.
So like when I approach a match, my intent or whatever, I always like to book backwards. Like, you know, if I'm over, I usually think of what, you know, my normal go over gimmick is. If I'm under, if I'm losing, hey, what do you like to do? And they tell me, and then I work backwards from there to the lockup, you know, or, you know, whatever. But like my character going to the, you know, people go, oh, Blue Meanie's a comedy wrestler. And I always took the approach kind of like, I always liked the Public Enemy, where they were the fun, lovable guys, but they could, you know, become serious in a moment's notice. Where I would come to the ring and I would always do like something funny in the beginning, set up, but like the comedy, which was like my love and, you know, my character, would sometimes be my downfall. And that's where the heat comes in. I would try to be too cute and somebody would cut me off with the heat, and just feel it out the crowd if they're there for it. If they're not buying it, you know, switch it up, switch gears, whatever. But then, you know, once, you know, the heel gets the heat and starts screwing me over, that's where the switch flips. And I become serious meanie, to where I got to fight for my life. I got to win. And, you know, always make it look never die. Always look like you're trying to win at any moment. And then if, you know, I lose, it's always, you know, me trying to go for the win. Going to the well once too many times, or, you know, somebody catches me off guard, or if there's somebody at ringside, I always, and you know, if somebody's at ringside, I always try to include them, you know, in the match. That's another thing I learned from Raven. If you got somebody at ringside, you know, let them be a little bit more than just standing there pounding on the mat and whatever. Make everybody in that match important, from ringside to the ref to everybody. And the intent is to win. My initial intent for my character is to go in there and be fun, lovable, happy meanie, but I always kind of get screwed over to the point where I'm like, you son of a bitch, you ruined my fun, and now I'm going to kick your ass, kind of thing, So,
and it's funny, for as much as I went on a diatribe of explaining, my idea of like wrestling and all the things that I have learned, this goes back to everything you were saying before, because just listening to you right now, there's still little things where I'm like looking after I just went on this. Yours was a continuation of everything I was explaining, and then I'm listening to you and going, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And and I feel like I just walked away learning something else from you. And that was kind of my like mission statement when we're bringing this up, is like, learn everything, never stop learning. And I mean, you've obviously, you've forgotten more than I ever knew about.
Well, wrestling, but to your credit, you draw a lot of memories out of my head. So it's just like there's a lot of stuff in there. Just it needs to come out. And oh shit! I just had a thought that went into the ether.
I'll see if I can fish it out for you at some point.
Yeah,
and thanks for sharing that, because that's interesting. Because everybody also has like their own way of breaking something, and I think that is the difference between. And I don't want this to sound like, let's trash the high spots and the things like that, but that is the difference between how you just described how you look at a match, and a lot of people, myself included, 100% when I was starting out, my mindset was, well, I do this move and I do that move and I do that move, and I can do that move because he'll be at this point of the ring. And it's like, that's not you. And I remember thinking psychology was, oh, I can hit a drop kick off the second rope because he's getting up from something before, so he's in position. Well, no, that's not like, yeah, that makes sense. He's in position, but that's not even remotely wrestling psychology. And that's so.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. Go
to that point. It's like another. The other shit. It disappeared again.
I need to know what this is.
No. I'm talking about the finishes and stuff like that. Another thing that I also try to be mindful of is the other matches. You go around and you talk to the ref and say, "Hey, anybody doing this finish?" Because if you have 8 matches and 3 or 4 of them had the same finish in the match, they could have left after the 3rd match or the 4th match. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So also, like, if and the biggest respect, somebody's paid me, say, "Hey, I'm doing a moonsault for the finish tonight. Is that, I know that's your finish. Can I do it?" I'm like, "No, you can have it. I'm not doing that tonight." So, I kind of, I saved that.
I'll blame you for not having to do the moonsault tonight.
Yes, yeah. special occasions, I'll bust out the moonsault, but or the meanie salt, but whatchamacallit? What were we talking about? Well,
just in general, like, use it, like, being conscious of the other matches, what moves they're doing, what finish they're doing, what, because at least that's what I thought you were doing.
This is the other thought I had. Another pet peeve is if, somebody knocks their opponent down and they're flat on the back, they bend over and pick the dude up. Well, and the point of wrestling is to win matches, right?
Right.
And to win a match, you either got to pin them or make them submit. So if you knock them down, go for a pin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would never physically try to pick up an opponent unless they're halfway to getting up on their own.
Right. They're already getting up, grab them and do something else.
If somebody sits up, all right, either push them back down, hop them for a pin, or take them and set them up for another way to knock them back down. Like, I just shoulder tackled a guy. If it's early in the match and he's still fresh, he can, bump and kind of sit up, shake his head. Then you scoop him up and, maybe go for a suplex or something like that to try to get him back down on the mat, Yep. And, that's, just like UFC, MMA, they're going forward. If they knock somebody down,
see them picking you up, off your back. Oh, you're on your back. Let me help you up so we can keep fighting.
Yeah, I just wheel kick the guy. He's going to take a bump, so I'm just going to pick him up so I can punch him again. No, if you wheel kick a guy and he goes down, they're going in for the kill. It should be the same way in wrestling. If you knock somebody down, you should be going in for the pin or a submission or whatever. You know, that's the one thing I wish people would. I mean, don't go for a pin every time. You know, like or don't put yourself in a position where you have to pin the guy every time, because then eventually you kind of start looking weak. You know what I'm saying?
So why do you think, like, we'll talk about like WWE, for instance, because that's the one everybody likes to, attack and stuff, but they're the biggest company. Why do you think it is, for as micromanaged as we hear the WWE matches are, why is it that that some of these complete voids of psychology happen every match, every show, like clockwork? There are multiple matches where they're same finish. I remember there have been pay-per-views where it's like 3 matches were like a roll up, like that was, same. There's
the 24/7 title.
Oh my God. But there's like, but like, why do you think like every match, like you can look at this and you know that it's been micromanaged, that it's being produced by some of the best minds in the history of wrestling. Yet you see some things. Do you think that that's a directive of hey, the high spots are what brings the ratings? Get more people. We want it to be more of a car crash. What is your opinion on that?
I wish I could have a good answer for that, but you would think, because when they do these shows, I mean, it's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they're having production meeting. Mm-hmm. All the agents are there, or as they're called now, producers. Mm-hmm. They're all in the same room. They're all talking about, okay, in segment this, at X amount of time, they're going to do this. And you would think that, okay, this person, well, one time I took a trip down to Florida. This is where I could kind of speak on knowledge of this, but it's me and Mrs. Me took a vacation down to Florida, and one day we took a ride with Cutler to an NXT, Steve Cutler from the Forgotten Sons. He's one of my kids. Mm-hmm. Rode. I was like, hey, let me check out an NXT show. I'm just going to go spectate, sit in the crowd. I'll sit in the top row of the bleachers and just watch. Excuse me, burp break. Damn seltzers. Oh God, stop. It's my birthday. I could get away with that.
You do whatever you want. It's your show.
A little birthday burp. Why not? And they had their pre-match thing. Hey, we're going to do this and that and the other thing. And, everybody on that show at least knew what the finish was going to be for the other matches and not to do it. Right. And, it's just a matter of, I don't know where maybe there's a disconnect between the NXT and the WWE. I refuse to say call up anymore, because to me, they're all
they have a 2-hour block on the USA Network and prime time on. Yeah, they're not. It's not about getting called up anymore.
To me, it's like hop over, not call up. They hop over to this brand or they hop over to that brand, and I don't know where the disconnect is between NXT and WWE, because to me, I prefer NXT. I like the feel of it, the tempo of the matches and stuff like that. But again, to your thing, I don't know where the disconnect is. As like you said, they micromanage it, and they had these production meetings, and you would think, okay, in this match we're gonna have this finish, that match we're gonna have that finish, blah 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 blah. Maybe it's somebody gets lost in the ring and they just call it an audible and they take the heat when they walk back through the curtain. That could possibly happen. Who knows?
So here's like another question about it. Like when we first started doing me and the WWE, when we first started doing the Performance Center shows, when that first happened, there was this one issue where the live feed continued on during commercial break of the women's tag match. Did you see that?
And in another country, they got them.
Yeah, and it was an Israeli feed or something like that. And you hear Triple H kind of talking about how they were playing to a crowd that wasn't there, and basically, I mean, not trashing them by any means, but just like kind of almost like saying to Michael Cole, like kind of like, yeah, they were doing like you could definitely hear that that was something at the end of the night that he was going to go to them and say, yeah, hey, listen, here's one thing. Crowd's not here. Play to the camera. Don't play to the crowd. But they still do it for months now. They've been doing it. So the question becomes like, why? Why is, and I hate to look at it from a negative standpoint because these people, they're still, their worst show is still incredibly produced. It's just, I don't know. I've always just, it seems like anyone you ask about psychology of wrestling has all the right answers. But then when you see the matches that are put together, sometimes, so I always wonder if there's a directive going to them of just saying, we want this, boom, 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 this kind of action. Don't worry about selling that. It's TV. We need more action. I don't know. I mean, I honestly, I'm not suggesting that is what's being said. I'm just saying, I don't know. So I was just curious your opinion.
I mean, like when they first start doing the first round of no crowd shows, and you see Bailey and Sasha walking down the ramp, and they're like,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
I thought that was genius at first, but it's just like, it's like it's like once is cute, two is just like it's like playing peekaboo with the baby. At first you're like, oh, how do you look at this cute little baby? And you're like, third time you're like, all right, okay, let's
like R-Truth, they had come out at the pay-per-view and do his whole what's up thing.
Well, he could do whatever he wants.
I was gonna say perfect. That was hilarious.
He is my favorite thing in the world. Like besides the fact that he's an awesome human being, and I got to spend a little time with him down in Memphis and got to know him a little bit and watch him. And people are like, oh, they're ruining R-Truth. I was like, no, that's R-Truth being R-Truth.
Yeah. The dude just seems to be hilarious. And like, I've never met him, but he just seems hilarious and he does a great job at it. But then you're like, then you've got your serious people climbing up on the ropes and staring off and pointing to the crowd that isn't there. You're like, what is happening? This isn't it. To me, it showed that like they have a very cookie cutter way of producing their shows, and they just continued to produce their shows that way.
Or just people have habits. It's just habits. Yeah. And, I could see where I might, fall into that realm, because there's certain things with your entrance. It's like you're used to, like if you watch the video games, you kind of have to live up to your video games now, or, if you got the video game and your entrance does it a certain way, or people at home are expecting you to do a certain thing, or say a certain catchphrase, or
you gotta get your shit in, but
you gotta, stick to your emoji or whatever it is, your, there's a word there. Damn it. 47 years old, but
you know what the word is, Meanie?
What's
sex?
Yeah. Oh no. I'm a male.
Let's talk about something that we could all use a little bit more of right now. And that's not just sex, but that's great sex, Meanie. And I hope that I'm going into a read from a sponsor and not just shifting this conversation.
This is where mine and DeMeanie took a turn for the...
what I want to talk about is not the Blue World Order, but the Blue Chew World Order. That is right. One of our sponsors. You know them, you love them, and you're really going to love them after we're done with them. BlueChew.com, Meanie. They're here. They're finally here.
You know what? I've almost alluded to them in the past, and that was maybe me putting out a little bit of a bait.
Yeah.
Kind of lure them in, kind of like people lure their emotions and stuff like that. But, welcome to the Mind of the Meanie for Blue Chew with the... the Blue World Order. Welcome in the Blue Chew World Order here on Mind of the Meanie. It's about damn time. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it was a perfect... When we announced the show, the first thing that people started saying was, are you going to have Blue Chew? It fits like a glove.
Blue Chew and wrestling seems to go hand in hand. It's like they love the wrestling business. people love having great sex with Blue Chew.
Yeah, so, and you don't have to be in the wrestling business to love Blue Chew.
Hey, man, I got one of those stuck in my throat and I got stiff neck. I mean, there we go. Cut that out.
So let's never.
That's not right.
So let's talk a little bit about what Blue Chew brings to the table, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what you can bring to the table with Blue Chew. So Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach. And since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill. So you can be ready whenever an opportunity, shall we say, arises. Blue Chew is made in the US of A. It's prescribed online by licensed physicians, so you don't have to go to the doctor or wait in line. It's even cheaper than a pharmacy, and they prepare and ship it right to you in a discreet package. So no more awkwardness, unless we're talking about awkwardness in bed, in which case that is really not something that we can help you with, and I apologize. But Blue Chew is not going to help you with that awkwardness, only going to help you with the awkwardness of having to leave your house and go. And especially in these times, do you want to leave your house to go get yourself a pill to take your night to the next level? Meanie, do you?
Hey, man, with Blue Chew, you could go, work from being the curtain jerker to working the main event and going an hour Broadway. So, I mean, they're reputable, they're safe, they're and every you talk about the Blue Meanie and Blue Chew. Everybody it's like everybody was talking about when these guys gonna have Blue Chew, because people love the product. People use the product. People trust the product. You don't want to get stuck. You get these cheap ass gas station dick pills. I mean, you want something that people know, people trust, and people can rely on. And when it comes to getting that stamina to work a Ric Flair, Barry Windham 60-minute draw, Blue Chew is the product that you want to call on. You want to tag them in, for the high spots, and you don't want to look like a chump.
And that's the thing. Over the weeks on Mind of the Meanie, we have given you promo codes to tell you how to clean up that area. Okay, well, now you're clean. Now you did it. It's time to show off your hard work. And the worst thing you could do is be ready to show it off, and it's just not working out for you. You're tired. You're tired. You're exhausted. Quarantine has got you down. Well, Blue Chew is going to get you up. And right now, we have a special deal for our listeners, for our Pod Squad. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first free shipment free when you use our special promo code Meanie. You just pay $5 shipping, and you get your first shipment absolutely free. Again, that's BLUE Chew.com. And if you're listening to Mind of the Meanie, I should never have to spell out blue for you, because you are very familiar with blue, and now you're going to be familiar with Blue Chew, and your significant other is going to thank you profusely. And you can tell them, don't thank us, thank the Blue Meanie. Because that's what you want to say at the end.
We were taking it up. No, but seriously, seriously, when it comes to Blue Chew, I mean, you'll have her showing up at your work, man. She'll be stalking you. She will be walking around in broad daylight with a flashlight looking for you. So get yourself some Blue Chew, and don't blow it. Blew it.
Oh, I like what you did there. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice, and we thank them so much for sponsoring Mind of the Meanie. And just, remember, when you support our sponsors, you help make this podcast possible, and you help us to continue to bring you great content, like when you're done having sex, mention the Blue Meanie. So you're welcome.
You're
Do you want to go into any more detail about your
Okay, here's where we snip it. And yeah, man, thanks to Blue Chew for supporting us. They're a great sponsor. They sponsor a lot of podcasts, so sponsor a lot of quality podcasts. Yes. All the big names. So the fact that they feel like they can trust us to bring their product to you, to your ears, and to your bedroom means a lot. So every time you go and support this great company, Blue Chew, you're supporting Mind of the Meanie. We can keep the production up higher, just like you can keep your production up higher in the bedroom with Blue Chew. So go to Blue Chew and use the Meanie, use promo code Meanie. And not only are you going to help yourself, you're going to help us. So it's a great tag team. It's a great win-win situation for you and your partner and Mind of the Meanie.
Yep. Help us help you take your baby in a beanbag chair and turn it into a full-grown toddler.
Send them off to college.
There we go. Oh, Meanie. We're having fun here.
Speaking of, don't blow it. I mean,
man.
Yeah, just clean that up and post.
Will I? I don't even know.
Why not? Leave it in.
I think I'm going to just leave it in. This is what you get. This is what is actually happening. And it's why there's a little pulling the curtain back of why I love doing this show so much is that.
No, seriously, there's like when it comes to doing podcasts or interviews and stuff like that, there's like inflections people do. Mm-hmm. And like where it's like, okay, we're taking it home. I like to call it the soft landing. Like if I'm talking to somebody and my end of the conversation is over, I give them the soft landing. Like, yeah, okay. Oh well, it's been good talking to you.
Yeah.
And then when they fire up with, oh, I forgot to tell you, you're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
So there's like a point where I thought you were giving me the soft landing.
Oh, on the thing where I perfectly ended it, like the whatever it was, but I didn't mean to end it. I said it like it was the end of the ad, right?
Instead of the soft landing, you gave me the hard go home, and
it's because I was reading Blue Chew.
Yeah. And again, thank you to Blue Chew for hopping on Mind of the Meanie. It was just a matter of time. Yeah. Just a matter of time.
We're just so happy to have them because it's fun and for us to get to work with them. And they are, all kidding aside, a really legitimate product. And it's not just for people who have a problem or whatever it is. Like, dude, like there are some days where I'm just exhausted to walk up the stairs. Like it's come on, you want to be ready when that moment strikes. And for some of you people who are just, maybe you and your significant other, you're quarantined together. Maybe it's a fresh relationship and you're still feeling like, hey, what else are we going to do? Well, eventually we're going to be here a long time. You're going to need some assistance. You can only go for so long in this quarantine. I don't know what I'm talking about. My wife's 35 weeks pregnant, so I'm not using Blue Chew right now. So but how do you think we've got that third kid on the way?
There you go. Yeah. But and seriously though, the good thing is the kayfabe. They kayfabe with the packaging. They send it to you all nice and discreet. Mm-hmm. So you don't have any nosy neighbors going, what do you got over there? You got the Blue Chew? And you're like, no, I'm naturally this gifted. Thank you very much. Thanks for the inquisition. But thank God for quality products like Blue Chew to help keep Mind of the Meanie on the air or on your pod or in your laptop or in your car or wherever you listen to or on YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel. You'll hear Blue Chew on Mind of the Meanie on the YouTube. And stuff like that. So
hey, what a great opportunity to plug our all of our social media because we're just like we're just a segue machine right here.
There's a hard right there, man.
But yeah, hey, we've got so the last episode we mentioned our youtube.com/Wi-Fi password. Within moments of finishing recording that episode, YouTube gave us the URL. So it is now youtube.com/Mind of the Meanie. So many people have just jumped onto that immediately. We really appreciate that. And again, when we get to 500, at this point, we're a little under 200 maybe. So when we get to 500, we are going to bring you some sort of video YouTube only episode of Mind of the Meanie. So
and we want to make it special too. So
we want you to be able to see our seltzer cans
and see our coffee mugs, and maybe you'll see Mrs. Meanie do a run in the video form. So
can I be honest with you? I've never seen Mrs. Meanie do a run in. She never makes it on camera. She's like, we have it here. I never see Mrs. Meanie, so I don't know. They still might just hear her off in the background.
It's kind of like Home Improvement. She's peeking over the fence.
Yeah, she's Wilson.
She's Wilsoning it, from the confines of her office. Yeah. And but seriously, I got so many ideas. If we get to 500, I would maybe bring on a special co-host. We don't do guests, so if we can do a special surprise co-host,
yes,
I could reach out to anybody from the world of wrestling or music or comedy or whatever, man. But we need to get closer to that number for us to make this happen. And YouTube is, podcasts are important, downloads are important, but just like myself, I listen to a lot of my own I listen to a lot of my favorite podcasts on YouTube. I'll throw it up on my tablet or on my Roku on the YouTube app, and sometimes I just like to have it on in the background while I'm doing stuff on the computer, or I'll put it on my laptop or my tablet, while I'm playing, MLB The Show or something like that. I multitask. I listen, play video games and listen to podcasts and stuff like that. So if you go to youtube.com/MineAndDeMeanie, hit that subscribe button, hit a like our videos, help us get our, voice out there, our echo, our footprint.
Yeah.
A little bit bigger out there in the atmosphere. I wish we were on the air when we found out that we got the URL for it and stuff like that. We could have hit the breaking news sound or something that or whatever. But it was definitely a cool moment. Like anytime we get more downloads and stuff like that, you shoot me a text and you're giving me the breakdowns.
Yeah, and it's fun, and that's something that we definitely enjoy doing. Is just kind of like celebrating the tiny milestones. Even just getting the URL like that to us was, hey, we just opened up this YouTube page, had over 100 Pod Squad members just jump on and subscribe, and we are now able to get this URL that we looked at in the beginning and said, hey, who knows how long it'll take for us to get this? So that's a really cool feeling, and every day when we see new subscribers, new follows on social media, I think Meanie and I are pretty transparent about how appreciative we are of everybody who listens to this without getting all mushy again, like we were earlier. But no, I mean, we really do appreciate it. It means a lot, especially for a guy, for someone like me who, I'm just so thrilled to be along for the ride with the Blue Meanie. It's very flattering every time we see this stuff. And we appreciate it. It's just, we're going to we're not going to rest on our laurels. You bring us, you get us that 500, we're going to give you that show, and it's not going to stop there. We're going to do more and more cool stuff on YouTube and with the podcast. We got a lot of fun things planned.
It's funny because we started off sounding like a PBS show talking about our seltzers and our coffee. Now we sound like a PBS pledge drive.
Yeah.
You just 3 more subscribers. We'll give you the bonus box set of
and if we reach 600,
Lou Rawls live at Red Rocks. If you get 3 more 100 more subscribers here to Mine and DeMeanie, your pledges mean so much to us here at PBS at Meanie BBS or the Blue Broadcasting, whatever gimmick. I don't know. But dude,
there's
seriously,
there's a shirt somewhere in there.
The fact that we've done this without leaving the house is amazing. Because my whole thing was to launch this thing and go to a bunch of conventions and shows and like that, and just fire away, pitch away. I got ideas on how to promote this once we're allowed out of the house. And stuff like that. The fact that
Meanie's going to put a sign on and nothing else and just walk up and down the street.
Just a sandwich board, man.
Just the sandwich board. Maybe the Daisy Dukes.
Maybe.
And that's maybe. It's warm. It's hot today. So today is not.
It is humid.
Yes.
Definitely Daisy Dukes and half shirt weather.
Yeah.
which would be a weird tan line to have. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But dude, I've thought of doing that, just like ECW shows, running the summer months. I was thinking about laying out with my half shirt and Daisy Dukes, and then like on a comeback spot, just whip off my shirt like a Lawler pulling down the strap and having that awkward tan line.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and even go further, right? The Blue Meanie with the sunblock. So when I take it off, it's still like that awkward tan line and stuff like that. It just says the Blue Meanie or whatever, something goofy. Who knows? Awesome. But just to pop a crowd, just something weird or goofy or unexpected like that,
Hey, to clear up some things, we've had a lot of people I saw on social media have been posting, on Mother's Day and, happy Mother's Day to everyone who celebrated.
I think that's another holiday.
That's another one we missed.
We missed. Another one we missed because
show comes out 6 hours after Mother's Day, but nope, we're not going to say a word about it.
Nah, no sell it.
But people were loving your the picture that was posted with your like, what was it, like mother like son of you and BlueDust.
Oh yeah,
and so a lot of people, this isn't the first time, but this happened a lot. A lot of people going, did you ever sell that? Could you ever sell this? Because I wish that was for sale.
Right.
And you cleared it up to some people, but I thought it bears kind of repeating.
Since we have this outlet
of why, because also people are very familiar with the fact that we will sell any shirt idea that we can possibly come up with.
There's plenty I've had to turn down. I'm like, hey, easy, but no, I'm just kidding. That's one thing I love about working with you. You're always thinking about new ideas, new shirt ideas and stuff like that. And, people saw I popped that you found that photo of me wearing the mother like son shirt. Cause I totally forgot about that shirt. That's when, the era when I was tagging with BlueDust and I was calling BlueDust mommy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people ask, why don't you reproduce your shirts? Well, some shirts are very important to me, and some they have a sentimental meaning, like my WrestleMania shirt and stuff like that. And this shirt is a fantastic shirt as well. Shout out to my the airbrush people who did my stuff. They're no longer there, but shout out to them. There's a hiccup with that where I don't want to put out something that BlueDust is a WWE created character, and then like to sell something and not be able to I don't want to risk putting something out and then WWE goes so out of respect to WWE and their intellectual property, I would feel cheesy or cheap selling that where I own, I don't want to get that's.
But would you say that's completely out of the realm of possibility to one day sell a shirt that looks like it's airbrushed of maybe you and me on there?
Oh, absolutely.
That's that's something that could happen one day.
Dude, there's plenty of opportunities. Yeah, absolutely. Where we could do maybe it's like back in the day when they used to sell designer imposters for like perfume and stuff like that. You couldn't afford your car noir in high school, so I'll get like the designer knockoff at the mall, local mall or whatever. We could do a designer knockoff Blue Meanie shirt, or something like that, where I could be the BlueDust and you could be the Meanie in the situation or something like that. Do a little role reversal.
Yeah,
but oh yeah, absolutely. And plus, I don't want to, try to make money off of, BlueDust and Dustin's image and stuff like that. And, when you start, talking about cuts of the pie, things get shorter and shorter. And, I would definitely want to have to, keep Dustin in the mix like that. Mentally I would have a guilty conscience.
Right.
Because I have that Catholic guilt that's been beaten, not beaten in my head, but instilled in my head to where I'm almost Canadian, where I do something and I immediately apologize for it. Sorry. I apologize for shit I don't even really need to apologize for, but it just, Catholic guilt kicks in. But down the line, definitely do, or once we think of a solid idea, why not?
That's one of the things I enjoy most about doing this show is that we can just keep coming up with fun stuff, and the fans.
As far as for that actual physical shirt, I don't have it anymore, anyways, so I can get there's collectors and stuff like that who come along and buy stuff. You know, I've sold some of my ECW gear and WWE gear. I've sold, there's stuff, you don't want to sell, but people make, entice you enough to sell it. It's like,
you're gonna give me how much for a cutoff t-shirt?
Yeah. You want something to smell? You want something that smells like me? All right, cool, man. But
Don't blame you one bit on that.
Yeah, there's stuff, I definitely won't sell. Like, my Mania shirt, I still have. I got, my first ECW jacket, the red and black one. I got like a ECW track jacket that we all had made and stuff like that. There's stuff like that I'll never get rid of just because there are firsts or, stuff like that. But that actual shirt that we're talking about, like mother, like son, yeah, I totally, somebody made me an offer I couldn't refuse on that one. So even if I want to reproduce it, I couldn't just because, and plus, the part that's missing, you got that shot on the other side of my caricature. I'm holding a huge taffy, like a cartoon size, like baby Donald Duck, wherever that cartoon where the guy carried a taffy in a guitar case or whatever. I have a huge taffy, and I'm wearing one of those propeller hats. So like, they get the full shirt.
Generic cartoon little boy. Yeah.
Yes. I would need that kind of, I would need the, the shirt just for those details of the photo. But I'm flattered that people like those shirts. Like I said, there was the one time I had the I Dream of Meanie shirt, and one of the cameramen, like traveling back from a WWE show. That was his chair, by the way.
That was my chair. Yes.
That was his chair. That wasn't me. I was like, I had to check to see if that was me because I just turned 47. I'm launching grenades and don't even know it, But
boy.
That was his chair.
That was my chair.
Traveling back from WWE shows, a lot of the production guys lived in Philly, like guys like Marty Miller and stuff like that. And we'd be on the same flights, and we're sitting at the gate ready to come home, and they're like, "Hey, just so you know, you came out with that the Mine and the Meanie shirt back in '99,
ahead of your time."
Yes, I'm ahead of my time. Too bad it's only like 5 minutes, like George Carlin would say. But and they were like, "Hey, you were wearing that I Dream of Meanie shirt," and Dunn or one of the guys on the head said, "That's clever," and I would get feedback like that. So just for fans to come out and say, "Hey, where can I get that shirt?" It's cool because you come up with a concept and you take a risk of, getting it made, and you wear it, and it could either be a hit or it could be a miss. A swing and a miss, just a bit outside.
Did you ever have any like a miss that you felt on any of your gear, or no? Did it always kind of? I can't remember any gear that you ever had that wasn't like, as far as the airbrush gear, that wasn't funny or fun, or I mean, just like, look, if it says the Blue Meanie, like, you're getting what you're getting, but it was cool, but it became iconic, and now you have it on an action figure.
Yeah. The action figure half shirt is from WrestlePalooza '98. And I was like, "Hey," I sent him a still of me wearing that, and I said, when I got that shirt made, I for whatever reason I did one side, and I put like a bunch of ECW stickers on the back or whatever. But eventually I think I got it back on both sides. But I was like, for the action figure, have that design on front and back and stuff like that. But I've been fortunate with the airbrush stuff, that I didn't really have a clunker. People will look at it and they go, I got it, like the Here's Meanie shirt where I'm like Jack Nicholson sticking my head through the door, stuff like that. I was doing the parodies. I was like, let me do it to the shirts. And I started wearing the full length shirts because I was no longer, I started wearing half shirts because it was an ode to Stevie.
Right.
And there was a point where me and him weren't tagging anymore. I was like, you know what? I'm getting this incredible art done. It'd be a shame to cut the shirt in half. So let me just do a full length shirt and do it that way. And then I think me and Stevie started tagging again in WWE. I think I went back to the half shirt. But like I said, I've always been fortunate to have like memorable shirts that, and the cool thing is the best thing to do with like an airbrush artist, and I kind of learned this in the world of getting tattoos too. If you let the artist have, give them carte blanche, don't, if it, because they always get the same request. Hey, they like tattoo artists, they want like $1,000 design, but the guy only wants to pay like 150 or for it or whatever. I want this, but I want to have wings, and then inside of it, but it's like, dude, you give me but I can only afford this much. Well, you just ask for like $1,000 tattoo. With airbrush, it's like it's almost the same thing. KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
I mean,
I always kept it as simple as possible.
I have any fans that have seen me at the before we were locked down, and I just stopped getting dressed. They see me in a suit, and I always have a custom tie. Anything from the event that I'm at, where it's very custom to that, or I even just have ones that have like the Shernoff S logo all over it and whatnot. But the person who airbrushes my stuff, she actually used to airbrush my gear when I was wrestling. At times I had the airbrush gear, and she does such an amazing job. And 9 times out of 10, I'll just be like, okay, here's one idea or something. Can you just run with it? Like, I'm looking over because I have some of the ones that I'm like kind of out of circulation, like Starcast 2 in Vegas. That one, I had the one that was like for the looked like the column for like the Roman Colosseum type thing. And I basically just said, here's the tie. Here's a gold tie. I was thinking something to kind of go along with Caesar's Palace, which is where it's going to be. And I want the Starcast logo on, and I want the S on there. And it's one of my absolute favorite ties that I have. And it's like a masterpiece that she put together, and so, yeah, I agree with you 100%. When I'll come up with an idea and be like, can you do this, 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 and this? It turns out great. But when I come up with like just a little, I'm looking for something like that, go have fun with it. Oh man, because I mean, this woman is far more creative than I am, and far more talented at this. So it blows my mind. It just becomes so much fun to be able to see. And I'm hoping in the next little while that I'll be able to get a nice Mind of the Meanie tie made. I have the tie. I just don't have the ability to get it airbrushed at this point.
And you just blew my mind with saying it was airbrushed, because I thought you had sent off to some tie company that had.
Oh, yeah?
Dude, your ties look like somebody, manufactured them in a tie factory somewhere and like mass produced these ties. Because, dude, I always popped for your ties, and I was like, man, that's such a cool thing, because you reminded me of Bill Alfonso. Something I learned from Bill Alfonso is always tweak your look somehow. And he told me like sometimes he would let his hair grow out, and then sometimes he would buzz his head, do it short. So anytime somebody looked at you, they're looking at you, it would draw attention. Like there's something different about him. I can't put my finger on it. And meanwhile, they're a little bit of attention to detail. Like he told me when he went to Japan for the Flair. Who did Flair drop the WCW belt to in Japan? Was it Fujinami?
I want to say yes, but then I feel like I feel like I should just say I don't know instead of. I think that would be better. But I want to say yes.
It was the Flair Tatsumi Fujinami match in the Tokyo Dome. Which the point I'm getting to is Bill Fonzo was, refereeing that match, and he went just like your ties. He went and had his referee shirt. He had an American flag sewn on there and a Japanese flag on there to make the match seem that
much more important.
Official, more important. It looked like the company was like, oh yeah, it looked like back when, they used to have wrestling in Chicago and you would have to have the Chicago referee logo patch on your shirt or something like that. Him wearing a referee shirt with the American flag, Japanese flag, made it look, the match seemed that more important.
And I mean, for me, it's almost become like, I kind of see it as like a way for me to show a sign of respect and appreciation to some of the locker rooms that will invite me in. Because the first thing they do, they look at that, they know whether they know I got it airbrushed or they think I went out and bought it from whatever. They know I put time and I put money into that.
Because if you don't invest in yourself, nobody else will.
Right. And yeah, it's very true.
If you don't invest in yourself, why should anybody else? And
when I went to do the On the Ropes, the stuff that we filmed at MLW, where we filmed the last time you and I saw each other, actually, in person. But I was wearing, if you go and watch On the Ropes, cheap little plug I threw in there, I'm wearing in those interviews an MLW tie. And my thought process was, I knew I was coming into MLW not doing anything for MLW. I was there strictly on behalf of Fight TV to do the On the Ropes show. But I felt when I had been seen so frequently on AEW television, or on Fight TV for AEW, wearing a different tie, depicting a different pay-per-view, I have multiple ties for Dynamite and stuff like that. I felt like it would be disrespectful to show up to the MLW locker room without an MLW custom tie, because I wanted to show I didn't want it to be like, oh, well, you're not AEW. So, so I'm not going to wear that, and that's maybe just in my own head, but I like it. It makes me feel, it also makes me, I like to be able to say to people like, hey, I'm here to work with you. I'm not here for you to put me over, because that is my entire job. When I go to do the AEW stuff, I'm there to put them over, to put over their show, to put over their product. I'm not there. I mean, look, I'm happy to get my face out there, but my job is to sell you on their show, and they make it easy for me, but
it's a mutual thing. You're there to do your job, but in a way you're putting yourself over, but subtly, but you're still putting over the product at hand.
Yeah. And the best compliment I can get is that, oh, you made me want to buy the pay-per-view. That's when someone's like, I remember somebody posted something online about my enthusiasm for it. Well, my enthusiasm was real. I love being there. It was a blast. But my enthusiasm made them decide to do it. I'm like, first I want to say, don't ever make any decisions based off of what I tell you to do. But yeah, so I'll send along to my airbrush artist your compliments on that. Sometimes it's airbrushed when it's really, really detailed, like some of the AEW logos and stuff. When it's really detailed, she'll put like an applique on, like an iron-on type thing. And then kind of airbrush into the iron-on, so it all ties together.
No pun intended.
You're right. But you know what? Actually, my favorite, I had said my favorite tie was, I'm looking at them again. I think my absolute favorite tie was the AEW Revolution one. She went, all I did was give her the logo and a black tie, and she went all out on it. I'll have to send you a picture at some point. It was just so cool. But enough about me. Cool, I've talked too much in this episode, I feel like.
Hey, well, a little bit of breaking news. I just got a text from in reference to an older one of our prior episodes. I got a text from Jim Molyneux, ECW referee extraordinaire. And he says, I was listening to the latest show and I almost shit myself laughing at the Detroit poop story. I wasn't sure who was going to throw up first that night, myself or Bill Wiles. So breaking news.
Dun, dun,
get
dun, dun.
Yeah, get the news ticker in there. Breaking news.
Wow.
Jim Molyneux says he almost shit himself laughing. Wow. But yeah, thank you, Jim. Thanks for listening.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks.
And Bill Wiles listens to as well. And yeah, he was it'd be a shame if I outed him as a listener of Hanson or anything, but he sent me a text. He's like, dude, I'm so glad Mrs. Meanie did a run-in on you talking about me liking Hanson to get the attention away from it. So I'm going to rib him right here and let the world know that Wild Bill Wiles, who lives in Delaware, likes Anson. So ribs on you, pal.
That's awesome.
You motherfucker.
So what else is going
That's
on?
That's an inside joke between me and Bill that I'll never tell that story in public. But go ahead.
Okay. No, I was gonna say. So what else is going on? We can't wrap this up now. We have more stuff to talk about.
Did you, sir, watch the latest Dark Side of the Ring with the Road Warriors?
I did. Awesome.
Very good. Yeah.
Not surprisingly. I mean, their show is always awesome, but.
Yeah. Like, and again, like with all their episodes, people go, "Oh, well, they forgot about this." Or the show's Dark Side of the Ring, and and they only have 45 minutes to do things. First of all, I love the show. Bottom line, I love the show. I love what they do. Everything. I'm just talking about. I see people on my feed going, "Well, they didn't talk about this," and it's like, yeah, that's for like a 2-hour documentary. Yeah. But for the 45 minutes, because like without the commercials, it's like 45 minutes. I think they did a fantastic job. They talk about the beginnings of their careers, the birth of the Road Warriors gimmick.
Well, that's the thing. Like they say like, "Oh, I wish I would have said more." I'm sorry. I was just going to say that Animal even detailed how he first had their shoulder pads made. Like there was enough of a deep dive for a short show that was really just meant to focus on really the Hawks' unfortunate downfall. They still gave you a deep dive into the beginning there.
And I loved. I didn't know Hawk went up to Canada for a little bit and worked for Al Tomko, and to see the footage of him working pre Road Warrior Hawk blew my mind. Yeah, I didn't know. And then I mean they eventually there was like a little. There's a go home period in the documentary where they put like a lighter side of it when they're showing they kept cutting to this interview segment of Hawk in a gym as a dude interviewed him in the gym, and he was talking about the go home, the bright side of it was him finding religion. He cleaned himself up. He found a woman he loved, and devoted his life to religion and stuff like that. And unfortunately, he passed away. But before, he passed away, he got his stuff together. He found he went on to the next chapter of his life. He closed the one chapter and found this other chapter, and people are like, people are like, oh, they only focus on the negative stuff. No, they showed how he found a purpose,
something that I really appreciated in that. I thought that was so well done for Hawk's legacy, because I'll be totally honest, I had always assumed he died of some drug related type of thing, because all you had kind of heard was kind of fell off the face of the earth, had all these demons, had all this stuff, and then Hawk died at 40 something years old. And
you know how the wrestling grapevine works. And it's like that game Classroom where you say one thing, the other person says it. By the time
down the lane, They always talk about on one of Conrad's things, the tele-wrestler.
Yeah, telephone, television, tele-wrestler, or something like that.
Yeah, everyone's got like a different version of that.
Did you ever see the movie Johnny Dangerously? With Michael Keaton. This might be I might be reaching with this reference, but there's like,
I don't know if I ever saw it. I may have seen it like a long time ago.
Johnny Dangerously plays the Cliff Notes for this is Johnny Dangerously's a gangster. His brother's the DA. He finds out somebody's going to whack his brother at a movie. So he gets this parakeet and he tells the parakeet, tell so-and-so somebody's going to kill my brother at blah, 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 blah. And they send they send the message out, and by the time it reaches the person it's supposed to reach, it's like this totally different thing. I'm not even doing
no, but I totally get it though.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing that I was really.
Johnny Dangerous.
I will. I'll put it on my list. That was one of the things that really did stand out to me about it was because it had never been really like explained. And that definitely made me feel good to know that good and bad, you know, good to know that he got his life together and was able to enjoy, you know, I guess the fruits of his labor, so to speak, for an amount of time before he passed. But then, of course, always when you see something like that, you know, it brings you down because you're saying, here's a guy who finally got it together, finally got, you know, and
well, that's
just cut too short.
the heartbreaking part. That's the tragic part, the heartbreaking part, and stuff like that. You know, a guy like Chris Candido who had issues for a little bit, and he got clean. He was doing awesome, and then unfortunately he broke his leg, and you know, just like a blood clot.
I believe it was a blood clot having to do like post surgery thing or something.
But I ran into Chris Candido at I want to say a Jersey All Pro show that they were running at DCW Arena. And he was just like, "Hey, Meanie, how you doing?" And we, you know, it was awesome to have like that little bit of a moment with Candido. And then he goes off to TNA, and then he's doing fantastic stuff, and that happens. Same with Hawk. I mean, it's tragic that, you know, just moving furniture, and he felt, you know, like he was doing some heavy lifting at home, and
obviously, you know, his heart had, you'd assume, from the years of living the way. Right. And that's it. You know, it's funny. That's the flip side of it was, I say, you know, I knew he was involved with drugs and had his personal demons, and that's how I thought he died. On the flip side, I never knew how, like, I remember the Wembley Stadium SummerSlam. And I remember as a kid, not understanding anything about wrestling, but just as a fan being like, he beat him with a power slam off the ropes. That was weird. Like, I remember it vividly. And now to watch this and find out that that's why, because they said there is no way in hell that Hawk can get to the top rope and do the Doomsday Device.
And I had no idea. Like I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I was like, oh, that's a awkward finish out of nowhere. In a way, maybe it's a little bit refreshing that it wasn't like the same, you know. Yeah, sometimes the best finishes are ones out of nowhere, you know. But like, I had no, like, to watch that footage again, and as they're calling it out and pointing it out,
seeing
and
him
showing
stumbling
the footage,
around, and
dude, I, as a fan, as a kid, I don't think I had seen that match until I rewatched that. I had no idea that, you know, that was the thing, and it's so heartbreaking. Because I love Hawk. Like, I've said it before. I got to meet Hawk when I first broke into the business, and my friend Phyllis Lee introduced me. Oh, this is Brian. He's training with Al. He goes, "Good luck, kid. It gets worse from here." You know, he gives me a little pat on the back. I was like, "Thank you." So, and he was, you know, running into him in different indies, and when he saw me invaded Raw, like we talked about on the last episode, you know, he always had like a little, you know, one-off line that, you know, he's breaking your balls a little bit, but it was funny, you know. It just, you know, but Hawk was such a talented guy, and, you know, my God, I wish he, you know, I wish he could have been around, just, you know, just because, I wish he was still alive, but, you know, to go into the Hall of Fame and all that stuff, and just, there's so much more he could still be doing in and around the business that, you know, he was a good dude, man. He was a good dude.
I have my mom has a ceramic mug at her house from when we were kids. It was me and my brother and sister. Like, we were all at some carnival or something or another, and we all, and they had face painting, and then there's thing you take a picture and they'll print it on the mug and something like that. And in that picture, I have my face painted like Hawk.
That's awesome.
And the coolest thing when I look back at it was that I'm assuming I had to have described it to them, because how else, you know, I wasn't bringing it up on my phone and showing them a picture, and I didn't know it was going to be there. So I described it and got my face painted, and oh my God, I was the biggest badass 6-year-old kid, you know, whatever age I was at the time. Like, but I threw that face paint on, looked at myself in the mirror, and I'd never been cooler or tougher. The bullies were going to run from me.
I was the biggest road warrior mark as a kid. You know, you always see him in the quote unquote after mags, or the magazines in general. You know, the Politato bags, all that stuff. I was always buying PWI, The Wrestler, Wrestling Eye, All-Star Wrestling, whatever I could buy. And some of the coolest covers were the Road Warriors on the cover. Like one of the earliest PWIs I remember is, the Road Warriors on the cover of PWI with the national tag team belts.
They had the black shoulder pads and the.
This might have been before they might have had the vests and stuff, but in this photo, I don't even think they had the vest. There was just them and the belts, and the way they uplit it from the floor up. They look like something out of a horror movie. The Road Warriors just looked mean as shit, and then you watch that, and then I when AWA started running the Tropicana in Atlantic City, you go to the show, and once they hit that, I mean. Something the fans will never, it's unfortunate they'll never get to experience today is being in that arena when the Road Warriors were wrestling and Black Sabbath's Iron Man came over the loudspeaker. The goosebumps that would, just overtake you. You would get goosebumps goose pimples, whatever you call them, to the point where your whole body goes warm just from being excited. And then they would hit the ring. Just like it was like a Tyson fight, that intimidation of these, you knew shit was on when they were hitting the ring. And I got to see AWA came to Atlantic City, and the Road Warriors were there. And then there's one time a hurricane was coming through New Jersey, Hurricane Gloria, and AWA still went on with their tapings, and Hawk worked that into promo. Hurricane Gloria can't stand up to one of our clotheslines or something like that, and stuff like that. And the classic promos, the classic matches, just, and like they said, legit in Dark Side of the Ring, they were one of the true first over heel. They were heels, but they were getting over as baby faces. Just because you knew they were the winners. No. they were going to they were going to win, and then you put them against, dude. Speaking of the magazines, seeing the Road Warriors on the covers, face to face with the Koloffs. The Koloffs were I think they were wearing the NWA old school tag team belts, and then the Road Warriors were wearing the AWA tag team belts, and they're, oh my god, here's a dream match, champion versus champion, and all that stuff, and you're just like, theater of the mind. That's a big theme of the show, theater of the mind, and just fantasizing of what that match would be like. And then they would put out they had the great match at the Great American Bash, and then the after mags after they did the initial Lord of the Ring VHS release, but then they, in coordination with the Crockett's, they put out, like an hour-long Great American Bash VHS tape. Like, I got to get this tape. I got to see the Road Warriors versus the Koloffs. And meanwhile, Ric Flair's on the show, and you're defending the title. I'm like, dude, I got to see the Road Warriors against the Koloffs. Nikita Koloff, man, he was a thing of destruction. You go in the ring with him, and he's like a Russian road warrior. He's just destroying dudes with the Russian sickle and all that stuff. To see him going against the Road Warriors as a fan, and then eventually the Russians brought in Crusher Khrushchev, Barry Darsow, and that's a whole nother set of dream matches. You never thought you'd see, and the Road Warriors were hands down the best tag team. It's
funny in my time. With me as a kid, there's always that debate of did Demolition copy the Road Warriors and stuff like that.
Right.
And I grew up a WWF guy, so so Demolition was my, I knew of the Road Warriors, but from my viewpoint as a fan, as a kid, it was like, oh, there's that like lesser NWA thing. And then there's the big WWF. So there's like these Road Warrior guys. I almost saw them initially as like Demolition knockoffs when they first came. Cause I was a young kid. Obviously, as years went on, I grew to appreciate just exactly who the Road Warriors were. But that was, even just kind of like a dream match in that regard, Demolition and the Road Warriors.
And then, it had Warlord, Barbarian and stuff like that. And, you just jarred another memory from my head, because we were talking about how earlier we're talking about learning from people, and I got to go do the Funkin' Dojo. I mentioned Kurt Angle was there, Steve Bradley there, Road Warrior Hawk was there.
Really?
In my class, and that just totally popped in my head right now on the bridge to where it's kind of cool how this is working out, where I can work two stories together like that. But Road Warrior Hawk was in that on that Funkin' Dojo, not because he needed to learn anything, but he was just there to try to knock off some ring rust. He was going to come back.
Draws there?
No, Draws was a couple classes before I was. Okay. There was a class.
I was just wondering. I didn't know if maybe he was there in some connection to
Draws. It would have made sense.
Yeah,
but Draws was already kind of on the main. I first met Draws in ECW when they had sent him over to work some shows and stuff like that, and we hit it off right away because I grew up in Atlantic City. He was like in Mays Landing, Jersey. A lot of the. Me, myself, Draws, ring announcer. I can't think of his name right now, but and Mike Chioda, we always pass each other by and go Jersey, because we all had lived in Jersey at some point. Tony Chimmel.
Tony Chimmel. Okay.
Yeah, me, him, Chioda, Draws, we'd be like, Jersey. That's what we say. Walking down the hall, sometimes I go, hey, man, word. Or two Eagles fans passing each other going, go Birds.
Yep.
We'd be like, Jersey. But to get back to it, Draws wasn't in that class. He was like in the cool class with, Edge and Christian and stuff like that, But no, I had Kurt Angle, I had Hawk, Steve Bradley. Steve Bradley, again, go look him up. And there was a couple times where Hawk didn't make it to. We were working out in the warehouse where now they house the WWE network, Brain and all that stuff. But back then it was just like this big warehouse where they had a ring, and in between matches I'm looking around, there's like VHS on the shelves, I'm reading labels and shit like that. But there's a couple times like Hawk didn't make it to practice that day just because he would bump around one day, and the next day he'd go to bed and wake up and he'd be crippled. They go, hey, either Dr. Tom or somebody go over, knock on the hotel door, you okay? And he would literally be so sore and stiff from bumping that he would have to, he would crawl to the door. Hey, my back's fucking killing me and stuff like that. But, Hawk was cool, man. I totally forgot that until just this fucking second.
Cool,
yeah. And like, we were there for like a week stretch, and it might've been like, I believe it was a couple days after New Year's in 1999. And I took the train up and we all hung out, and it was me, Hawk, Steve Bradley, and here's his name from I don't know if you watched the Global Wrestling Federation, Rasta the Voodoo Man. They brought him in for a class, and
no, I never.
He kind of looked like Ahmed Johnson, but bigger, if that's possible. And he's from like Baltimore. They brought him in from a tryout and stuff like that. But yeah, I know I'm getting a little bit of a tangent, but we're talking about Dark Side of the Ring. But yeah, Road Warrior Hawk was in that class. And
one thing about Dark Side of the Ring, I do want to say,
sure.
And this is, I'll put most of the blame on Paul Ellering for just not knowing. No reason he needed to know.
Yeah,
but I'm going to put the rest of it on the creators. As you can see above me, you can see in my office my He-Man and Skeletor banks that I have up here.
And your Chris Jericho that I thought was Al Snow.
You thought it was Al Snow, yeah. The Legion of Doom was not from He-Man, as they showed. The Legion of Doom Legion of Doom is from Super Friends. It's like it's all like the villains, like the Joker, like the it's all like the super villains, which I am not as familiar with. But He-Man, I got a lot of He-Man memorabilia and stuff because I was that was before pro wrestling, and not surprising that I became a fan of pro wrestling because basically He-Man with real life people. But I was a huge He-Man mark, and I watched that, and I'm like, that's not accurate.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because if you watch the Road Warriors DVD that WWE produced, Animal tells a story about how they would be riding in the van. He goes, "Meanwhile, back at the Legion of Doom," which I believe was Ted Knight doing the voice. Ted Knight from Caddyshack.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe he was the voice. Meanwhile, back at the Legion of Doom. Yeah, that's unfortunate, and
I mean,
knows, maybe,
look, what do I look
maybe
at? It ruined the whole. It ruined the whole show. Yeah, season 3, Dark Side of the Ring. We're gonna talk about the that blooper that happened.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's not really pertinent. But
no, it wasn't. It was just so weird that it went through the production, and clearly they had to get clearance to use the clip of He-Man.
Unless they did it under fair usage,
possibly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what we do.
Because there's a lot of WWE. Yeah, there's a lot of WWE footage in there too. That I'm sure that. And I since I guess this production's based out of Canada, they have different fair usage laws and stuff like that as far as production and stuff like that. Yeah, their laws up in Canada are like a little bit different.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I was just surprised by it, but a cool thing that those guys said on, I was listening on the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, which I'm a fan of. The guys were on there as guests, the creators, and they were talking about the opening Dark Side of the Ring montage with the spinning ring. Yeah. That was actually a Jakks Pacific Classic Superstars real scale WrestleMania 2 ring that the dude bought and rode his bike like 5 miles with it on his bike. And then he said he shipped it to Canada to their studio. They spray painted it black, did all the lighting behind it, smoke and stuff, and put it on a Lazy Susan and spun it around. And that's the shot of the ring in the beginning. And that just blew my mind when I was like that.
I'm a sucker for stuff like that. That knowledge.
That was just, that's why I thought I'd share it with you here. That was just amazing.
Hey, I brought Ted Knight to the party. You brought the ring to the party.
Ted Knight was, I remember seeing, so Ted Knight looked just like my dad.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
And people used to tell my dad all the time, like, "Oh, you look just like Ted." And he's like, "Yeah, it's not the first time I've heard that." But I remember the first time.
I want to meet your dad.
That's hopefully you have many more birthdays before you do that. But no, my dad passed a number of years ago, but he was. It's not no reason for you to know that.
Excuse me while I go punch myself.
No,
in the
stop
face
it, stop it. But no, he. But I remember the first time on a TV Guide it came, and I saw, because I wasn't watching. At that age, I wasn't watching Caddyshack, or if it was even out yet, and I wasn't watching Mary Tyler Moore. So I didn't know who he was. I'm looking at this. I go to my mom. I go, "This dude looks exactly like Dad." I'm like, "What is it?" And my mom's thinking, "Yes, this is something that has been said numerous times in the past," but yeah, no, he looked a lot like Ted Knight, and a lot of the same like mannerisms and stuff as well. But yeah.
Another exciting news coming out for Dark Side of the Ring. They're coming out with a soundtrack.
Yeah.
Which
how cool is that?
Which they're going to do digital and vinyl, if you can believe that.
I did not know about the vinyl. So, that's awesome.
I will be partaking in that. Thank you very much. And it comes out May 19th, so happy birthday to me. You know what I'm saying? Well, if you're listening today, it comes out tomorrow. But yeah, man, how cool is that? Because I love the show. Mm-hmm. I love wrestling. I love wrestling documentaries. But there's something about the music of Dark Side of the Ring that just even draws you even closer to where it kind of has a Scarface vibe with the music that, like, I know
that's an interesting point you're making. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, it's like, I know they're heavily influenced by the documentary. Their documentary style is definitely heavily influenced by the Thin Blue Line, which is another awesome documentary.
Okay.
But the audio, I'm like, man, that sounds like something right out of Scarface, and I love it. I love this. So if they put out a soundtrack, I'm all about that, man. Just
oh, that's super cool,
that show is the best, and
just the hours that have to be put in to put something like that together to do, you know, it's incredible.
They're like still producing shows as they're putting them out, which is crazy.
Yeah, and especially with the pandemic and everything going around, the apocalypse, as we like to call it on the show here. Like I said in that interview with the major podcast, they were talking about how they're still at home cutting the Owen Hart episode. They were still working on it, and thankfully that's coming out, because that's one I'm very much. I always hate to say, we've talked about this before, I hate to say I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it, because that was like the same, like the Chris Benoit one. Like I was absolutely intrigued and excited for it to debut, but not like, you know, but it always sounds like such like a weird thing to say, but I am looking forward to it because, again, like we've mentioned in previous episodes, the potential for some form of closure on a subject. And I think this is really the fact that they have, I saw a picture they posted online of Martha Hart and Owen's son, Oj, who is a spitting image of his dad. And I looked at that, and the fact that he's going to be interviewed in it, just, you know, it's, I've always, you know, we've talked about this about, I loved Owen Hart. I had the opportunity to meet Owen Hart, and it was as a young kid, and just, you know, really, you know, that was a tough thing for everybody. And I'm looking forward to being able to have that family, have that platform to speak, you know?
Yeah. Well, I have different, well, I was there. So
right. And that's something you and I you know,
when
again, but we pull the curtain back. We had talked about that. That's something we will talk about and go into detail. And I didn't know if that was something you wanted to maybe save when we record next week's episode. We will have both seen the Owen Hart thing. And I think that would be a good time to kind of maybe just dive deep into that. If you guys are looking for an uplifting episode of Mind of the Meanie, we'll talk about that.
I won't go into any details now, you know, and not that I'm like looking for like a ratings boost, like on a special after school special of Mind of the Meanie. But next week, because there's a lot of stuff, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff in this episode coming up with Owen that a lot of people don't know and stuff like that. So we'll go into those details on the next Mind of the Meanie.
Because I am very,
I definitely want to watch it. I want to give my feedback on Dark Side of the Ring, and then I will go into, you know, that whole weekend and stuff like that, and offer my perspective of, because like every year, you know, around the anniversary of Owen's passing, which bizarrely, this episode's coming out maybe 2 weeks before the anniversary of his passing.
21st anniversary.
Yeah. And I've written a blog about it, you know, just to kind of get my feelings out about it. And I repost it every year, but this would be like the first time kind of talking about it. And not that it's about me, it's about a person who was there and my experiences with this tragedy. But you know, next week is the Owen Hart episode, and yeah, like you said, it feels weird to say I'm looking forward to this one, but I'm intrigued to watch this one. I guess intrigued is the better word, because
it's something that I know from a fan, and that's why
I want to watch it. I want to watch and compare notes,
right?
Basically.
And that's why I really, for me, being able to be kind of like, I consider, you know, I'm the front row of the fans of the Blue Meanie, you know, like I get to be in the front row and go, oh, hey, I have a question. But I'm curious about it. I'm honestly curious about watching this and hearing what and seeing what I see there. And then, you know, like you said, kind of compare and contrast and how you remember things. And I'm very curious about that, because Owen Hart is somebody who's just, you know, universally loved in the wrestling business by his colleagues, by his fans. So, you know, so that's the thing. Again, like, we're not trying to, you know, pop a rating here, you know, tune in, like you said, tune in next week for the Owen Hart.
On a special
Yeah.
mind of the meaning.
But it will, but I am very interested to hear about it and do look, and we would do our part to, pay those respects as well.
Fucking Owen was first class all the way, man, all the way. And you'll be hard pressed to find anybody to say anything negative about him. Maybe they'll say he was frugal, but he was frugal for the right reasons too.
It's not negative if you're,
But we'll talk about this next week and stuff like that. Again, Dark Side of the Ring, Jason and Evan, they're doing a fantastic job. And given, with the time constraints and, all the traveling and all the stuff they're doing with this, like I said, they're still editing on the fly. And maybe that's why the He-Man thing accidentally got through instead of.
And I hope, I'm not ragging them for it. It was just something that jumped out at me right away.
Right.
No, they do an amazing job. I look forward to all the episodes because it's an opportunity to learn more about this crazy business that we all love. And deeper dives.
And it's the thing, I love wrestling. I love documentaries, and this is the chocolate and the peanut butter, going hand in hand. It's like a Reese cup, man. Just hopefully there's a season 3. We'll see. There, time will tell.
I think there will be, and one day I think we're living through, like a season 5 episode right now with this.
Right now with the pandemic and stuff. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's gonna.
Oh my God. Yes.
I
feel like what's his name? The guy who did the baseball documentary or the Civil War documentary. I can't think of his name, but like they're super long documentaries. Like 5-part, 3 hours a piece. Yeah, we're currently living in the Ken Burns documentary. So it's like. Man, let's take it. Can we take this shit home?
Seriously,
wrap it up.
Well, speaking
not the podcast, but the pandemic.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of taking it home, I think maybe it's a good time to ask Meanie anything.
It's time to ask Meanie anything.
All right, we've got some questions here. This first one comes to us on Twitter from Brian_True. That's TRU. Hashtag Ask Meanie, what is the most legitimate highlight of your career? I heard at one point it was getting your own action figure.
Oh, yeah. Getting the action figure was like the cherry on the top of a really cool Sunday that I got to live out. Legit highlight of my career. WrestleMania in my hometown, probably. I've been very like I said, somebody called me the Forrest Gump for wrestling, where I've gotten to been there, done that, when a couple cool things that I might not actually done, but I've been there when things happen. First ECW pay-per-view, WrestleMania in my hometown, so many different things. But just to say, I got to do WrestleMania because that's the ultimate goal. Like if you're getting the NFL, you want to be in the Super Bowl.
Right.
If you get in the wrestling business, you should at least attain to be in the WWE and do at least one WrestleMania. There's so many people out there who are so talented, way more talented. There's people in this business who are way, way more talented than I would ever be, and they never got to experience their WrestleMania. And just to be able to say, I got to be in the WrestleMania in my hometown, no less. It's like playing, like, there's always the sports teams they, want to say, I wish my home team could have a Super Bowl in their hometown. Right. And a few teams have come close, but to have a WrestleMania in my own hometown of Philadelphia was, that's awesome. Yeah. You could, even if you scripted that for a movie, people are like, that's way too corny.
Yeah.
But to be able to say I did it was awesome.
Yeah. Another question here comes from Kevin Toms at Big Kev T 2010.
What a big kid.
Who do you think is the most extreme wrestler in the world at the moment, and would they have made it in ECW?
There's a few guys out there. I'm assuming he means like hardcore.
Yeah. That's how I read it. Like kind of like there's a lot of like GCW nowadays has a lot of like their deathmatch stuff and things like,
And I have to put it out there. Fucking Mance Warner's the fucking
that's what I
man.
thought you were
right
going to go
now.
with.
Dude, I mean, there's him. There's a lot of guys out there, but if I had to pick one, Mance Warner would be like the Steve Austin of ECW. I mean, even though Steve Austin was in ECW,
Sure.
I get it, folks. For those people waiting to fucking, well, by the way, Steve Austin was in ECW.
For those assholes who do things like say like, excuse me, that was not He-Man. That was that was from Super Friends. So
they got their arms folded. They got their stern face. They look like they got their arms folded and they look like Ms. Girl. Ms. Girl in the crown. Well, actually, Steve Austin was in ECW, Mr. Blue Fat Guy, whatever. But dude, and that's like ECW spoiled me. Like I hear a song, I go, man, that would be perfect in ECW. I look at Mance Warner, I go, dude, he would have been fucking money in ECW. And I know he likes to put over WCW and all that stuff. Right. Mancher loves him some WCW Nitro or whatever, but or Thunder. I think he's more
of a Thunder guy than Nitro.
Fact check me, Mancher. Let me know. I keep saying Manser, but it's Mance Warner. Old Manser.
Oh yeah, but he got Manser. It's kind of his nickname.
Old Manser goes in the Audi. But I love Mance Warner. He fucking pops me. He fucking pop. And talk about online presence. Who doesn't?
Oh yeah,
he's got such a great fucking online presence. But yeah, Mance Warner would have been fucking money in ECW. Absolutely. He would have been champion. He would have been on the Rise and Fall DVD. He would have been, he would have been everything ECW. Like if ECW was on its last leg and they brought Mance Warner in, he would have fucking helped, bring more money in to keep a company alive. I love Mance Warner. So, Mancer.
Our last one here from RJ, our good friend RJ from Ringside Rant at Ringside Rant _RJ. What was the best rib you saw or partook in? And I'm going to just say, if you have an Owen Hart one, we'll save that for next week because I think we can't. Whatever we talk about with Owen Hart is going to end. We're going to make sure it ends on a high note. So if it's an Owen Hart one, save it. But if you have one that's not an Owen Hart one, or one that you partook in, maybe.
I've been a victim. I was a victim of one, but the one this will be a two-parter real quick though.
This is that time you stole Al Snow's dog. That was a bad rib. No.
But the second, the one I'm going to take it home with does involve Al. But ECW used to run in at the Orange County Fairgrounds in upstate New York, or not upstate, whatever, in New York, right? Like middle New York, whatever. Like there was a time when they did the shows outside, but this was winter, so they did shows like inside. But there was like the ring was in one building, we were in another building. There's like a horse barn or something like that, and it was fucking freezing in the locker room. So they had these those industrial fucking heaters, those industrial heaters where the thing looks like it's like a plane engine spitting out flames.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
So like we have those in the locker room to try to stay warm, but basically to no avail. So I'm walking around and I'm doing whatever. And my good old pal Shane Douglas takes my chair and my gear bag and moves it, but places it back exactly like I had originally placed it, but placed it my steel chair in front of one of those industrial fucking heaters. And me being, whatever, I wasn't, I'm just walking around. I paid no mention. Like my setup looks like my setup to the point where I don't even pay attention to, there's this this heater sitting there. So I sit down in the chair and not even like 2 seconds later, I'm jumping out of the chair and I almost jumped through the fucking roof like, oh, oh, yeah. My my ass and my legs are just on fire. To like where I smell like pork rinds. And it's just like I could have sold my old Blue Meanie pork rinds and just from my burnt skin. I was like, oh my God. I turn around and I hear, ha, 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 ha. You okay, Meanie? I was like, you son of a bitch. But yeah, Shane got me to the point where we like anytime we see each other, we still talk about that rib.
That's hilarious.
But my other I'm not a big ribber because like I learned from John Tenta, I don't rib because I don't want to be ribbed.
Sure.
But and like I said, if you know me like that, you can say anything you want about me and back and forth. If you have that kind of relationship. So I would think me and Al have that kind of relationship where we kind of gently rib each other. So we're in, I want to say Connecticut, and it's the end of it might have been Hartford. I want to say Hartford. We did a show in Hartford. We drive to the hotel. Al's taking care of the rental car, so he's going to return the rental car. I'll just take a shuttle to the airport. So we say our goodbyes. We go to our respective rooms. I realized I left part of my gear in the car. I left my knee pads in the car. So I called down to Al's room. Hey, Al, I need to go back in the car. I forgot my knee pads. Okay. So I walk down to his room, get the keys. I go down to, I open up the car, get my knee pads. I don't know why this struck me, but I looked over and I see the car stereo. And I take the volume knob and I turn it all the way. I mean, this is when like it was manual,
right?
You manually turn the volume. I turned the volume all the way to the max. And I'm like, hee hee. And I, go back. Oh yeah, here you go. I locked her up for you. So back in the day when we had our flip phones and stuff like that, before I go to sleep, I would turn my phone off. I go to bed and I get my wake up call and stuff like that. So I wake up. I'm one of those guys, Mrs. Meanie hates this because like my alarm goes off. I'm up and dressed within 5 minutes. I'm ready to go out the fucking door just from my years of being on the road. I'm up, dressed. My clothes are placed. So I literally just jump into my clothes, out the door, ready to go. Just from those years of trying to squeeze out every ounce of sleep before you have to go to the airport for a flight. So I'm up, ready to go. I'm down at the lobby. I forget to turn my phone on, but I'm on the shuttle to the airport. I turn on my cell phone. Oh my God, I have a voicemail. I wonder who that could be. So I call the gimmick, put the phone to my ear, and it's Al. And not only is it Al Snow, but it's Al Snow with the music and the radio turned up to full blast. He goes, Meanie, I hate you, you son of a bitch. Or whatever he said to me. Al was so angry that not only was he so startled and angry, he didn't even bother turning the radio down.
Oh man.
Al Snow's first inclination was to grab his phone and call me right then and there because he knew it was me, to call me and curse me out with the radio still blasting in the background. And to this day, it's still like one of the things I'll think about and I'll crack up. And you know where I got that rib? I used to work in at the casinos. When I graduated high school, I started working at the casinos to save up money to go to wrestling school. I worked at Trump Plaza. So before I could get my casino license or work on the floor, they gave me, parking garage duty. So I would walk around and like if I saw a car window, somebody who forgot to roll their window up, I would reach in the car. I wouldn't grab nickels or dimes. No, I would turn the volume up on their radios. That was my rib. I would, if I saw a car with the window down or a door ajar, I'd reach in with a napkin in my hand. I didn't want to leave any fingerprints and just turn the radio up and shut the door. And, Merry
That's
Christmas.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And after all of that, though, with Al, for him to still wish you a happy birthday.
Yeah, man. Well, he did tell me to go shit myself.
That's true.
So
that's true.
Yeah, which I mean, that's
already happened twice today, right? So
that's like telling a fish to have a drink of water. Just But yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I want to right now thank you everybody for the questions and keep them coming. #AskMeanie.
Yes, please. Thanks for listening. Thanks for giving a shit.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, we get feedback all the time. Like I said, Jim Molyneux just texted me about catching up on an episode. Shout out to Chef Mike from New York.
Oh,
who
absolutely.
He does his breakdowns, and I enjoy his perspective.
He is how I remember what we talked about on the show. He'll break down what he learned in the episode. I'm like, oh, we did talk about that, didn't we?
I like to do the thing. I like as soon as we finish, I go, the episode's in the can. This is what we talked about. And I go, shit, what did we just talk about? I totally forgot. But it's just time flies by so quickly, and
we hope that that's the case for everybody else listening as well. I do want to just touch base on a couple of things before we head out the door here, and one of those is I want to talk
with our masks
on. One of those is I want to talk about mindofthemeanie.com, which takes you directly to prowrestlingtees.com/mindofthemeanie. Just want to talk about that, and it's not even a full plug. We'll do a full plug because why not? But I do want to say thank you to everyone we've had. I think this week was our most sales ever of shirts.
And thank you to everybody who bought a shirt. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. If you were week 1 or week 7, it doesn't matter. We really appreciate it. And the fact that more of you are doing it, we say it every week, how much we appreciate that support, especially in times like this when money is tight, and for you to make that decision to spend it on one of our shirts to support our show and show your support for this show. It means the world to us. But yeah, if you're one of those people who would like to do that, we do have a brand new one. That I'm very proud of that for our podcast, Meanie, and that is the concert canceled with a little. How would you even describe that? A Blue Meanie emoji farting.
Dude, you sent that to me, and I popped so hard. I was like, "What can we do with this?" I was like, "Oh my god." We could go back to the story I told where I ended I paused the concert with a single fart. And I sent you a text because there's a buddy of mine, Sanders Keel. He used to work for THQ, and he was there. He's like, dude, you were being way too modest with that fucking description. And I think I sent you the screen cap of that. But yeah, man, that perfect shirt. So if you've canceled a concert with any function,
or you or a loved one have canceled a concert due to your gas. But no, it's a great shirt. And again, we hope that not only are you enjoying these shirts and something that, it's a fun way for you to support the show. So you get something tangible out of this and a funny shirt that you can talk about. But it's something that we hope you'll notice the fun that we have in it too, because that is something where I kind of sent like this idea of this farting emoji, like what can we do with this? And Meanie sends back his idea of the concert canceled type, and it's we've been having just a blast coming up with fun things and collaborating together.
No pun intended.
What was the pun?
No pun intended. Having a blast.
Oh god.
Right over your head.
But it did. But you can go get that shirt, and of course the Mind of the Meanie logo tee. We've got Baby in a Beanbag chair. We've got Meanie Burger, which is one of my favorites. So many more. So go to prowrestlingtees.com/mindofthemeanie or just mindofthemeanie.com. But hey, while you're over at Pro Wrestling Tees, do us all a favor and go to prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie and check out some of the BWO and Blue Meanie merch that you have over there, Meanie.
Shout out to my speaking of tattoo artists earlier, my tattoo artist Fred Lancello. Fredward. He not only did he give me artwork for a Blue Meanie custom traditional tattoo shirt, he was the first person to buy it, and he bought it and he posted a photo on social media, And that means the world to me because, not only does he believe in his art, he believes in his art enough to purchase the shirt he designed. So,
yeah, how amazing is that? Here's something, go put this on a shirt. Oh, and now I'd like to also buy it from you. Like, that's a super cool gesture.
I was like, dude, I'll get it to you. I mean, you designed this for me. I will give you. He's like, no, I want to support a friend. Shout out to Fred at Street Road Tattoos in Ben Salem. Once he's up and about, go see him. Go get a tattoo. He does amazing work. He's done the majority of my tattoos, and I'm proud to not only say he's my artist, but he's my friend. So. Go to prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie and get the new Blue Meanie tattoo t-shirt.
And of course, so many other, the BWO shirt, the Hello Meanie shirt that we've talked about. So many great shirts on there. All the Philadelphia team shirts in the style of ECW.
In the team
colors. Yeah, lots of great stuff over there. You can also go over to SoSaysShernoff.com. And you can buy my merch right now. I have a promo code going that I mentioned on my show, So Says Shernoff, but I'll share it with all of you. You can save 10% across the board by using the promo code DIRT. And if you want to know why it's the promo code DIRT, watch So Says Shernoff and in the headline segment, and you'll find out why. But you can go get some great stuff over there and save yourself some money. But also, we talked a lot about Al Snow, as we often do. And now it's time to talk about his wrestling brand, which is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand. You can go and get all their creative shirts over at collarandelbowbrand.com. Use that coupon code Meanie to save 10%. The BWO, we've mentioned it before, they have taken over. But without even Meanie, without even the BWO shirts, which are awesome over there, just so many great shirts.
Dude,
you're a wrestling fan.
Dude, I'm sorry. I mean, some people, but this is so brilliant. I mean, forget me taking the BWO taking over the Collar and Elbow studios. Whatever Luke Gallows is doing at their studios. Good brethren over there with his t-shirts, and he's got a Ribera style Good Brother shirt.
What is his Brother Me Softly?
Brother Me Softly. I
couldn't stop laughing.
That's going to be my next order.
I could not stop laughing when I saw that. Like, maybe it's because I could hear him saying it, or just, my God. I don't know. I just was cracking up.
Luke Gallows, a.k.a. Sex Ferguson, a.k.a. Tex Ferguson. Whichever you prefer is the man. So go over to collarandelbow.com, collarandelbowbrand.com. Use promo code Meanie and brother yourself some softly with their great shirts. They're great quality shirts. They're very soft, very comfortable, and a lot of great artwork there. Get his t-shirts, get his get the Blue Meanie BWO takeover shirt for Collar and Elbow. But most importantly, save yourself some money. Go use promo code Meanie and save. And
while I wouldn't recommend necessarily brothering someone softly in this situation, because that's not really ideal, but I will remind you.
Well,
what's that?
That's what the blue chews.
I was gonna say maybe not brother someone softly, maybe consensual spouse or significant other or whatever. But if you want to, I guess, hey, let's just say you want to brother someone softly, you can also go to bluechew.com right now and use the promo code Meanie. Get your first shipment absolutely free. Just pay $5 shipping. And again, we appreciate them as we do all of our sponsors. That's our merch. That's our sponsor. And that's our show, Meanie.
Yeah, man. Dude, where does the time go? Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for the downloads. Thanks for the YouTube subscriptions. Please spread the word. We are nothing without you. So if it wasn't for you, we'd just be two guys talking to ourselves. Yep. And thanks for the support. Yep. So
I second that.
Let's take it home.
Yep. Follow us. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Mind of the Meanie. And while you're at it, give us a follow as individuals as well. He is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Blue Meanie BWO.
And
Cameo.
Join the world of Cameo. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Cameo at Blue Meanie BWO.
And Blue Meanie, you can go in there and he will send you a message. He will berate you. He will do whatever it is you want him to do. on Cameo, but it's such a cool site.
Dude, man, some of the requests I've gotten there are a little like, I mean, really, you want me to say, all right, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll say
what is your
what
is the Cameo again? What is your handle there?
Cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO.
Perfect. And again, it's at Blue Meanie BWO across all social media for you. And I am at So Says Shernoff on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Do not forget to visit mindofthemeanie.com for all of our great shirts that we just told you about a moment ago. Of course, collar and elbow. Yeah. Any final words before we're recording this on a Friday? So before you officially turn, what is it, 57? Is that what you're turning?
You're a motherfucker. 47, sir. Again, thank you. It is my birthday if you're listening to this on a Monday. So I've had 47 awesome years. There's been peaks and valleys, but I'm grateful to be here, to have this avenue to keep in touch with the fans. A lot of times when you don't wrestle, people assume you're retired, they assume you're done, they assume you went away. Nah, folks, still here, still having a good time, and having a good time with Josh, reliving, some of my stories, sharing my perspective, and that's the whole concept of Mind and Meanie, to stay in touch with you, the wrestling fan, and those who just like everything, those who like life. So this is about life. Wrestling, music, sports, whatever comes up. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're sharing this time with me and Josh, because you can listen to any podcast, but you listen to us, and that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself. So for the Blue Meanie, I am Josh Shernoff. Join us again next Monday for another trip into the mind of the meanie. And until then, we all raise our glass to the first 47 being pretty awesome, and to 47 more. Happy birthday to the Blue Meanie.
Bye.
Blue World.